All right, we're on the Country versus Metal podcast with Justin Ross.
What's up, buddy?
Nothing much, it was funny. I was like, how am I going to introduce him to the podcast? Do I say Justin Ross from Deadwood Revival, or
Yeah.
is that the band?
Yeah, people get it confused all the time because we do like Justin Ross and Deadwood Revival, not the Deadwood Revival. So you always hear people say the. We were at the Dallas Entertainment Awards, and when it came up on the screen, it was like Justin Ross and the Deadwood Revival, and I was like, that's whatever.
Yeah.
You know, took out the part, just skipped it. So yeah, it's weird how that came to be, about how that shift came in, and it went from just my name to a band, and then we want to do just Deadwood Revival, and then we found out that there's another Deadwood Revival, and so I was like, well, let's get our stats up way past theirs, and then we'll come in hot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By that time, and it's our own dumb, we didn't follow up. We should have looked into it a little bit harder, but we were like, yeah, Deadwood Revival, that works,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any confused Treaty Oak fans?
No, we haven't. No, but I thought that was fun. Now, as far as the logo, I don't have one on me here, but our old logo was like trees, the name, and then roots coming out the bottom. And I was like, boy, we're really kissing that Treaty Oak logo. Like, and that came out like 4 or 5 years ago, like that logo, but we just didn't have a name in there. And then we put the name in there, and then I was like, huh, well, okay, well, we're right in the chute with this. We shouldn't do this. Let's create something else. But
That's funny.
yeah.
It is amazing, like how much like stuff like that you have to think about, and it always comes up when like you thought of everything, and then somebody goes, "Hey man, that kind of," and you're like, "I'm gonna start over again." Especially like a logo. That I don't know if you can do art, but that's an entire more proofs.
Man of many hats, but yes, I have to go through all of that. And I'd never done like a big name shift unless it was like when we were Big Casino 15 years ago. That was different because we were starting something new. It wasn't Justin Ross and Big Casino. So the Spotify and the iTunes and all that stuff, it was under my name. And I was like, well, we should be able just to put the Deadwood Revival stuff on there. And then I found out we can't. So we had to like hit the reset button and go back to 0, and it's Justin Ross and Deadwood Revival. So I was like, oh God, okay, whatever, Stream World, we'll play your game. But here we are.
Yeah, and I heard if anybody in the band leaves, you're done, or is that like a?
Oh yeah, no, because man, when we all got together, it was let's say 3 years ago, I was ready to throw in the towel. I've been doing this literally since I was 6, and I was ready to stop. I was ready to be done with it. I was just like, man, I'm just going to go work the production side. And, and my fiddle player at the time, Corey, he was like, no, we're not done. Are you crazy? We're not stopping here. And I was like, dude, we found out that Rock Bottom has a basement. Like, let's just, you're young enough, dude, go kick ass with somebody else. And, and he was like, no, dude, we're not doing that. So really I have him to thank, because he was the one that was like, no, we'll find a bass player. We'll find a drummer. Just give it time. And I was like, all right, man, well, let's do this. And so we did. And then it just started building. And then once we got Bob Simmons into the band playing bass upright, I was like, man, there's something to this. We've been doing Texas, well, basically trio rock and roll without a fiddle, before Corey, for the longest time. And Michael Ross Fitch, who played for Brandon Jenkins, Ruben Salazar, there was a few in there where we just did straight up and down, Mesa half stack behind me and rock and roll, just straight up and down Texas rock and roll. And then when COVID hit is where I'd always been doing acoustic shows. And then we just said, well, let's just do this. Let's take all these songs and do it this way. And so we did, because it was easier for us to perform like online, etc. And then And then Ruben ended up having an unexpected fifth child. His wife got online to tell him, basically, it was like, well, pregnant again. My husband couldn't pull out of a driveway. So he was like, dude, I got 5 kids now. I can't keep doing this music thing. And so he went out, and then that's when I was like, okay, time to throw in the towel. And then Corey talked me back into it, and we stayed. We found Bob, and then a year later we found AC, and things have just been soaring since. And we went in and did an EP, Bring Me Home, got some music videos done. Now we're releasing a live record from New Year's Eve at the Mule Barn. And then we're going to go back in the summer. We were going to go in right now and start on the record, and we decided not to. We're just really concentrating on the writing, and then go back in like midsummer and then do like a full length record, which is still debatable. We're still trying to figure out, do we do 5 songs, 6 songs, 10 songs? I don't know what we're going to do. And I think that's the beauty about Deadwood, is that we just, everybody's so different across the board. Like, I come from a rock background. Corey comes from a bluegrass background. Bob comes from, the bass player comes from classical. Drums comes from like funk and hip hop. And then we're throwing all of this together, and I'll write a song and then present it. And then we come up with all these different ways of putting this song together, and then we play. And then it's like the lyrically, I mean, I'm writing with guys like Adam Hood, etc. But I love the lyrics, and I'm a big lyricist when it comes to things. But the music part of it is like, it can overtake you as you're listening to the song. In fact, when you were doing the blind reaction, you're like, you said in the blind reaction, you were like, man, I hope this wasn't a sad story, because this fucking music's just got me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It happens all the time. I can't like unlearn how to do it. I just get lost in like little things that it's funny. Like, I love percussion. No, and I've always had a drum set, but I'm terrible. I can't. I can hold rhythm down on guitar. I just can't incorporate the
It's
left
the feet
brain.
and the hands, isn't it?
Yeah, but you would never know. Like, I'm always at my desk playing, and
Yeah.
I've had so many people come up, like, not people I work with now, but back when I was working like construction in different office buildings, people were like, I know a drummer when I see one, and I'm like, nope, no, just
Yeah, dude, I'm 6'7", so being a front man, we all sit when we play, all of us, and that was by choice, because we're doing so much stuff with our feet, with pedals, etc. And it's funny, like when we show up to a place to play, if they've never seen this before, they're like, you must be the bass player. You know, it's like, no, I'm the guy with making guitars look like Tic Tacs on me. You know,
yeah. I didn't know you were 6'7", but
Yeah.
that's why Buckethead plays a 20-inch scale guitar, so it doesn't look like a toy.
Right.
His hands.
Right. Yeah. What is isn't it SGs that have a longer neck?
I don't know. Obviously the baritone SG, but
Oh yeah.
I had an SG, but gave it away.
I got a Derek Trucks signature, but it's in there in the case.
Dude,
Dude.
that's
come
another
on.
thing I wish I could do is play slide.
Oh, you can, dude. It's so easy. Once you figure it out, you're like, son of a bitch. You're like, man, this is way easier than I thought it was.
Like we were talking about, I was watching Tyler from Taylor Honeycutt, and he plays like the medicine bottle, and he's still playing licks on the bottom strings. And I was just like,
Yeah.
and I told him, I was like, man, I get so jealous of you, because I want to play slide too, and it's so I love it, and dude, I have slides all around me, and I just can't get it. And he was just like, well, I can't play fast like you, so I'm jealous of you too. And I'm like,
Start with the D and G string. Just start there. Pick a song just when you're, like when you do your videos and you're just jamming or whatever. Just start with the D and G string, and then just run the scales up as you're playing those 2 strings, and you'll find it. You'll be like, oh my God. And then you'll move down to the A and B, and you'll find out where those come involved. And as you're sliding across, and then same for B and A or B and E, like you'll you'll find it and go, gee, dude, this is so easy. It's like, when you're running a scale and you run your index finger on one fret and you're running just on one string, right? You're running a scale up. Wherever that ring finger is hitting at, that's your number. That's where you slide to. And so you'll find yourself just going, my God, and just do it with a pick. I get jealous of dudes that can finger pick. Of course, I chew my nails like a 5-year-old, but I mean, like finger picking to me, dude, is like awesome and Greek at the same time. Like I try it, and my big old, sausage fingers, I'm sitting there, blah, blah, blah. I'm just jacking it up all over the place. Can't get it done. I just can't. Yeah. It sucks. I'm just like, well, thank God Corey plays banjo. I could not do that.
Yeah, it's fine. Like I have finger picks in front of me, and that's one thing I've been trying to learn how to do, like doing like the chicken picking, and it just takes a while for like your fingers do it, your brain are telling them what to do, and
right.
I've kind of had that moment where I'm like, okay, now it's just how much time I want to sit and actually do it,
right.
And now that's pretty much all I do. It's funny. It's like why I have like tendonitis really bad because I just like I don't have kids or nothing. I got a dog, so I can just sit down here and play until I have to go to bed.
You got tendonitis in your hand?
Like my forearm.
Forearm? Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever tried acupuncture?
No.
Do it.
Really?
100%.
I never even thought about that.
Because we sit on these stools constantly, right? And I've got one of those rock and sock stools like a drummer, but it's a bar stool. And I'll be running with my feet as much as I'm playing with my hands. Like I'll be looping with my left foot and, running, stryming with my right foot or whatever. I'm going back and forth. But my back, just like a driver's back, right? I'm sitting on this right side a lot. And we got sponsored by Modern Acupuncture out of Alliance, and Doug was telling me, the owner, he was like, dude, you really need to come in and see us. Like, we can fix this. And what it was is these 3 fingers started going numb. So I was dropping picks. I noticed it during a show. I'd be playing and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I look down, I don't even have a pick in my hand. I'm just thumbing it. And I'm like, son of a bitch, this isn't right. So I was going to the chiropractor, spending like $40 to $60 a session, depending on what we were doing, and it wasn't fixing the problem. So I went in there and they laid me down. It took 25 minutes. I stood up. I could feel my feet. I stood straight up. I was like, oh, I don't have any more pain. No more pain. I go once a week, and fingers are back, and like. I had it all where I was wearing the brace around my arm, like, that sort of deal. I don't have to do that anymore. Huh. So look into that, man. Acupuncture. That's a real thing. Yeah,
definitely. The only time the pain went away is my one uncle, he got the big C, and he's just like, the only good thing about it is they give you whatever you want, and he gave me cream. That it was ketamine cream, and I put it on my arm, and I was like, where'd my arm go? I could function, I could move it, but I could have just sticked a skewer through it. I was like, this is the first time. It's not like it's just like a gnawing pain, and sometimes it's intense. Sometimes like if it'll like lock up. It was like the other day, some lady delivered food and she was handing me a drink, and my hand just snatched it out of her. I felt so bad. I was like, I'm sorry. Sometimes it just fires. But
how long have you been playing guitar?
Since I was like 12, 13.
Oh, that's dope. Yeah. That's that money zone, man. You get that young knowledge into it, and God, I was 6 years old when I first touched a classical guitar. It was my mom's. And, but yeah, there's something to be said about that, because your whole life you're doing this, if you stay with it, How many guitars have you gone through to a point where you're just like, Jesus, if I kept all of these?
How many what? Sorry, you broke up a little bit.
How many guitars have you gone through?
You know, I've given away two, and I've only sold one. I normally like buy them and keep them
I'm
forever.
the same way. I still have my first guitar. It's in there hanging on the wall. But dear Lord, my wife, man, poor girl. We have a whole closet in here, and it is filled from the floor to the roof of guitar cases, all just stacked in there.
Yeah.
And I keep some here in the studio to work with, but she's like, "Are you ever going to sell these?" I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Keep them all. I think one day would be really cool is like getting older. Like it'd be cool to have like a room where you do them, like, we always hang our guitars on the wall, but it'd be cool to do like shadow boxes and to do them in like chronological order. You know what I mean? Just all the way down from when I was like, because I got like pictures of me when I was like 6 playing this classical and I'm holding it like this, and just have that run down the wall. It's sitting over here. This past Christmas, my brother gave me our grandfather's guitar, and it was a 1954 Harmony Stratotone. Dude, the pickups still work. Blew my mind, because usually those pods and stuff will rot out, but it still works. I plugged it in to a Fender I've got over here. Plugged it in. I was like, oh my God, you mean it? These pods haven't rotted out? This thing sat in a closet forever. And so, but yeah, dude.
You end up getting like emotionally attached to them.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, they're like children.
Yeah.
I mean, you spend so much time with them. I'm like, I don't want to let this thing go. I got some old Takamine, like cedar tops and stuff that I started. It was funny, the other night we went out to eat, and we went down to Grapevine, and we went to this place called Big Fish. And when we went in, there was a dude in there set up in the corner, had like the 2 like Yamaha 15s. Remember the old passive cabinets? He had 2 of them laid on their side. He had a Mackie 808, and he had a Takamine cedar top, this real jankety mic stand, and no effects, not even a tuner. He's sitting there about to play to everybody, and I literally like had flashbacks. Like I was like, whoa, man, I did that for so long. Like, that's where I cut my teeth on a lot of shows, was doing that.
Yeah, it's like I was watching a video of Waves in April, and Cody Canada's son Dirks. I was looking at his rig, and his 4x12's a crate.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I remember crate. I still use a 2x12 of theirs. I put V30s in it, and it's still solid.
I mean, yeah, dude. Crate was top of the game there for a while for the affordable musician. You know what I mean? Remember back in the day, it was like, what was it? Crate. If you couldn't afford to get a Mesa, everybody wanted Mesa. You couldn't afford a Mesa, it was the next thing to get. It was like I think the Crate came out with their Tube series, which was like Crate, Excalibur. It was kind of dark blue, and you could see the tubes through the face of it.
Is it, first thing that I thought, Blue Voodoo?
Yes. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, well, for $1,300 I can buy this. You know what I mean? And get a 412 cabinet with it and turn it up. So you started seeing those everywhere. And then Mesa said, maybe we should come down in price by $1. Like, they never came down. I always wanted a Mesa Road King. And I ended up getting a triple rec because that's all they had. And it was basically whatever you could get at Guitar Center. I was living in Oklahoma City at the time, and I was like, well, triple rec it is, because you never know when you're going to need that 50 extra watts added on to 100.
Right? That's fun. Yeah, it's now I like when you first get in, you want the half stack, and now I'm just like I want the like the Axe Effects, the Kemper, some people, there's some purists, like I'm wearing Zach Wilkerson's shirt, and he is definitely a purist when it comes to tone, and
Totally.
you can't beat it, but it's a lot. And like when you're like traveling musician and you don't have like some of those cases are more expensive than the amps and cabinets, and like the tubes rattle out, and you plug it in, you turn it on, you end up blowing tubes, and
100%.
and the variac of the power. Sometimes the power amps just sounds different if you're at a shady place that doesn't have a good plate voltage. It's just so much to worry about. Other than that, I can plug in that digital rig and have the exact same sound 100% of the time.
Yep.
And I will sacrifice that little speck of authenticity of a tube amp.
I got this dude sitting right now. I just bought this. It's the Dream 65 Rebird. Have you checked this thing out? I got it and added it to the electric rig because we're introducing that into Deadwood, and it sounds like a twin reverb, but it is spot on. Like it is, if you were to put them side by side and put them through the, it's spot on. Yeah. If you were to like pan it left and right. Yeah, man, I'll take that any day. Well, especially because we run with a great FOH. Gary Hullett is our FOH, and he makes sure that tone gets dialed into every system, but I'm a purist as well, man. Like, in the other room, I still have my Mesa, and then I've got a Mesa Roadster, and then I got a Fender Hot Rod DeVille, Fender Twin, a Vox, and I love them. I absolutely love them. In fact, one of the favorite amp of the whole deal is the Hot Rod DeVille. I love the way that thing sounds. But technology's coming along. It's coming along really fast. Come a long way since the Boss Metal Zone.
Oh God, I had the DoD death metal pedal.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was garbage.
It's garbage.
When I hear I still like the old Tascam recordings, and it's just like
four. What were they called? 4-track Tascams?
Yeah. And I remember thinking that pedal was good. And now it's just like...
yeah. Trust me. I know. I think back to when I was like 15. I was like, man, Metal Zone. Sweet. Now I'm just like, whoo. I got away from that really quick. Once I discovered the Tube Screamer and how a Fender Twin sounds, and when you put those two things together, I was like, oh. Buttery Strat. Zach Wilkerson, actually, I've got one of his guitars. It's in the guitar vault, but he built a guitar made out of an old barn, and I traded him a Marshall JCM 2000 for it, which then he sold to get an AR. But I traded him for this guitar, and I often wonder if he ever regrets it, because this guitar is still, to this day, he put it on the neck pickup. It's got such a buttery tone for it. It's shaped like a telly. It's like a semi-hollow, and it's like a blue jean distress color he did. It's a beautiful guitar, and I've used that on so many recordings because it's so nice. And if you need that telly sound, click down to the neck and like it's there, but man, you put that through a Tube Screamer and you run some delays. I mean, you can get churchy really quick. I'll take it over my PRSs any day of the week. That's usually what the go-to in the studio, like a Custom 22 or a McCarty. And McCarty is usually it because I can pull the knob and turn it, into single coils, etc. But holy shit, that telly. I bring it out in the studio, like Chris Howell up at where we record at Cafe Solo. He'll be like, "We're running the telly today." Because the first time I ever brought it in, he was like, I can't get over the tone coming out of this thing. I'm telling you, dude. Whatever Zach built this thing out of, he did a great job.
That's incredible.
So, Zach, if you're watching and you want that guitar back, man, it'll be $40,000.
Yeah, the last time I was in Texas, I sat down with him and we did a podcast together, and it was just like, I was like, dude, if I lived around you, you would be like my best friend. You would just see, because I can't do any of that stuff or build anything. I have the steadiest hands until it comes to put that solder on, and it's like
I'm in the same boat, man. It's Corey Weiss, our fiddle player. He owns Green Bean Cables, and so he this cable right here. He makes all of our cables for us. So like all of our looms, stuff like that. He is just a master at soldering, and I can't get one done. He can get like 100 done in a day. I can't get one. I will jack it up 9 kinds of hell. There will be solder all over the place, and the wire will melt. And I'm just like, well, God did not bless me with soldering skills.
Yeah. Wait, so PRS, is that your favorite guitar brand?
One of them. I like Gibson's. I have such a heavy hand that, like even on that SG, when I'm playing, I tend to just knock it out of tune real quick with my palm hitting whatnot. But I like it. I like that. Of course, that Derek Trucks is he's a slide player, so I do a lot of slide work on there. But I'll use it in studio. But man, I'm a big telly collector. I've never owned like a true blue American Stratocaster. Never had one, or for that matter, a true blue like Gibson acoustic.
Like a J45.
I'm a huge fan of the SJ200. Like, I love it. The acoustics I play on stage are both a matching pair of EJ200s from Epiphone, and I put a Fishman Matrix wide pickup in both of them. And people ask me all the time, like, man, how the hell are you getting that sound out of that acoustic? And I'm like, well, first of all, it's a jumbo. And then when you get the Fishman and you put it, don't get the thin, get the wide piezo. It's made for a broader sound. And so it enhances this $400 guitar up to like $1,000 real quick. Now, is it compared to the real deal? No. But will it get you by in a show? Absolutely. You can beat the shit out of it. And I do every damn show, and then I go to Tone Shop and have them work on it because they're the fastest in town. And their turnaround is really quick. I was using another guy for a very long time, and he's really great, but he's so busy. He's a one-man show. So he's, you go into I love going into a shop and just hanging out because there's old guitars and shit everywhere. Mark Sigonero. But he's so busy that if I drop off a guitar and need it the next week, I won't see it for like 6 weeks. It doesn't matter what you pay because somebody else has already come in and paid over the top of that. Like, hey, I need this now. And I'm just like, shit. But Tone Shop works on them. But yeah, PRS is good, man. I mean, I use it for studio stuff, But in a live show, definitely the tellies. I use that one from Zach, and then I have another one sitting over here that's it's made by Hard Knocks out of California, and it's called a Southern Belle. It's like a dark green on black telly. I put a cutaway button on it, and we do a lot of tricks and stuff when we're on stage. So, well, we used to, but now with what Deadwood's doing is with introducing the electric back in, it's a very like Mumford and Sons way of doing it, kind of deal. Not so in your face, kind of just back in the music. So,
yeah, that's cool. The PR's factory is actually like not that far away from where I live, and I've been playing with a guy that he works at the factory, and so did sometimes we use a fill-in, and he works. He had all these like prototype guitars, and he was just putting them up against the amp. And I'm like, man, I know that guitar is like $6,000. He's like, they told me to take it out and gig it and just put it through its paces. He said, I don't give any special treatment to him. I let him know. I'm like, are they hiring?
Right? Yeah. Can I come in here and work, please?
Yeah.
Dude, there's a company out of California that I started using their pedals. They sent me one. It's a company called Atomic Tone, and they sent me this. It's a tone pedal. It's called a Triptych, and I put it on the new electric rig, running it through that Dream 65. Dream 65? Am I saying that right? 65 reverb, yeah. And so I started running it through that. And the amount of shit this thing does is incredible. And I called the guy and told him, I said, dude, this is insane. Like how much different tones you can get out of one pedal. And it's all analog, nothing digital. You know, I say that it's a pedal, but just the way it sets up. So I started running different guitars through it. And so he's sending out a couple more, and then I'm going to do a deal on them, you know, like talking about them and whatnot, and show them. But man, for tone players, bro, that's on another level. Like this guy has, remember when like Strymon came out with, what was it? The El Capitan,
yeah.
And what was it? The Blue Sky.
Yeah.
And then they did the Big Sky and the Strymon Timeline. Okay. Think about when those were like $99. And then they shot up to $500-$600 up to $1,000. That's what's going to happen here. They're incredible. Yeah, I'll send you his info. But dude, look that guy, Atomic Tone. Look those dudes up, because whatever he's done magically inside this pedal is blowing my mind. Like I'm just like, whew, you're sending 2 more. Now he's done one with a double switch on it. It's in the mail. It's coming. I can't wait to sit down with it, because holy shit, that thing blew my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I love gear.
You and me both, bro.
It's
a sickness. It's a
it
sickness.
Like, what is that? What do they call it? Gear acquisition syndrome?
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it. Got it. Take a look around the studio, bro. It's all that and horror movie stuff. I've got it everywhere. I literally can't fit anything else in this damn office. No, I mean, maybe a little shelf space back here, but that's about it.
Yeah, it's not, especially when like they do like 0% financing, and they give it to everybody,
and it doesn't go against your credit.
Yeah,
you know, it's like, really?
I always at the end of the month I'll be like, oh yeah, oops, I forgot I bought that guitar 6 months ago.
My band was asking me a few months back. They were like, dude, why don't you buy yourself a nice guitar, like an acoustic, right? And the simple answer was, guys, do you like this big ass trailer? Do you love this van? Do you like the AC cooled trailer we have for the green room? All these road cases and everything that it lives in. That's where all my money goes. That's where it all goes. I put everything in the road cases and take care of us on the road and Airbnbs and gas and all that shit. Like, so by the time we get done paying for all the shit, I don't have $5,000 to spend on a Gibson. And to be totally honest, I would love to have one, but I would be terrified if like I broke a string and handed it off to the tech and then grabbing that EJ and it would just be like it would just come down.
Yeah.
You know, your tone would disappear. Or maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. It would. That new Viper Blue they've got out, and I know it's one of those things where it's like, you better get it now for $5, because when they stop making it, it's going to be like $8 or $10. It's like when they did that, God, there's a local guy here. I can't remember his name. Damn it. But he uses one. It's like the olive green color. It's like a dark olive green. Shit. Dude, it's so beautiful. You know, and I'm just like, man, will you let me buy that from you? He's like, no, this is, in 20 years, it'll be worth $20,000.
Yeah.
You know, it's still in mint condition.
That's like a Co Wetzel's acoustic. I love that green.
Kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I was thinking it was probably. Like I was always like a, you know, they do like the Koa. I always like the Brazilian. I was always like the cool wood grain guy until like I saw like BJ from American Aquarium, that red, and I like Morgan Wade's.
There's one sitting down at Tone Shop right now. They're sitting right there all in a row. And I saw the red one. I was like, if I don't get the blue one, it might be the red one, you know. And there again, you can do it with a firm and get, you know, 0 interest. And like,
yeah,
shit. You know, do I really want a payment right now? You know, we're trying to buy a house. That's the thing, because we want to get a new van, right? So we've been in this, what we call Van Terra. It looks like a zombie apocalypse van. And back during, well, it wasn't during COVID. It was before COVID. It was something like 2017. I put this like really heavy duty rack up on top of the van, and it looks like a luggage rack, but it holds up to like 2,000 pounds. And what it was for is I was doing a lot of film work for concerts. I was on the other side of the fence. And so I had a jib crane for the camera, and I would put it on top of the van, and I would park the van right next to the front of the house at a festival. So I had a 24-foot jib crane that would stick off the top of this thing. So I'm already up like 9 feet. And then you put that jib crane up, and now we're going up to like over 25 feet, right? It's up in the air. I can get over the crowd. And so I have a ladder, climb up the side of it, and my big ass can get up there and sit on a chair and run this jib crane and sit there and look at the screen. And then I got out of that and went back to playing shows. And so I left that rack on there. And so we use it. We put gear up there and whatnot, like bags. Like if we're going out of town, we'll put our luggage up there and waterproof stuff and whatnot. So we want to get rid of this van, and we want to get a new, not new, but something like a 40 350 Transit with a dually rear end. And they're coming down in price. Like we're watching, but there again, like I'm trying to buy a house right now. I don't want to use my credit. I don't want to use, we're like this close to buying a home. And I'm like, let me get that done first. And then, then I can see after mortgage and insurance and all that shit, what can I afford? And if I can afford to get a new van or a new guitar, I probably will. Wife's not going to like it too much as far as the guitar thing goes, but she actually came down and saw that guitar at Tone Shop and was like, okay, I get it. It's gorgeous. It sounds amazing. I'm like, I know. Damn it. Why can't we afford this? We need more shows. We need more gigs. That's the answer, right, Patrick?
Yeah. And I tell you what, some of the artists, if you're an artist for certain companies and you find out how much discount they get, you would never buy them on your own.
I know.
No. Yeah, and it's just,
I know.
The first time I don't want to name him, but we were talking about him, and my buddy's an artist of him, and he's like, "Yeah, just come down. You guys, I'll get you 60% off." I was like, 60. I was like, hold on, I'll go get another Discover card, and we're going to Candyland.
One right quick.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. Jeez, 60. Christ.
I don't know if that's like one a year or whatnot. I was just like, what? And I already had a bunch of guitars from him. I'm like, oh no. I said,
don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah,
I'd be down there like, as soon as I paid it off, I'd be like, well, what's next? What are we doing now? Like,
hey, it's me again.
I'm here. Let me go ahead and get that red one too while we're here.
Yeah.
Go ahead and what would the payment equivalent to? 60% off. Just go ahead and give me 2. I'll make the full payment. Jeez. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, thank God. Well, that's a double-edged sword. Because if I knew that guy, it'd be different. So I'd be like, yes, I sure will. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm broke, but thanks.
Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, dude.
I wanted to ask, I heard you were talking about your acoustic shows, and you made the comment, I'm doing stuff on acoustic guitar that I really shouldn't be doing.
Yes, 100%. So, I guess the way to start this would be 25 years ago. Is when Line 6 came out with the DL4, just about that time. And they added that 14-second loop into it. And so I learned by doing these solo shows that, because I got bored, I love playing lead. And I could be singing and hit the part and loop it and then turn it on and have it loop and play a lead part over it and then stop and keep going. And just, my goal was to make it as seamless as possible. So I wasn't looking at it like today where you see guys build and build and build and build and build and build and build. I was trying to do it to where they didn't even know I was doing it. And so, but I'm so heavy-handed that I'll run my acoustic through, like, as where most guys wouldn't run their acoustic through the subs, I'll run it through the sub because I'm real percussive with my right hand as I'm playing, almost as if there's like a kick drum being added to. Now, with the band, it's a little bit different story. I won't do that. But when I'm by myself or we do a trio, I will do that. And so I'm playing lead licks and stuff that you wouldn't normally do on an acoustic, that heavy-handed, like kind of like a Stevie Ray Vaughan, how he was very jonga donga bong, like real chunky with it, right?
Yeah.
On an acoustic, you'd want to be more intricate. You'd want to be real, scaly, if I'm saying that right. But I dig in pretty hard, and there's dynamics to it as to where, a lot of guys, like, they play, and no offense to them, but the people that are playing like J45s, the singer-songwriter guitar, they're just strumming. It's one volume, it's just here, and that's it. Well, I want to be able to go here and here and here and here. So, like, I'll use an EQ pedal, and I'll scoop the lows and the highs down and boost the mids, as where my normal EQ is scooped, kind of like what a Strat would be, or like a John Mayer Strat, like that scooped EQ. And I'll do that on the main EQ, then have that boost in the middle. And then I'll be adding in like Tube Screamer too and stuff. So, like, when I play slide on that guitar, it sounds like I'm playing on a dobro with very light distortion, and the mids are up and it cuts through. In Deadwood, a lot of people think that we're using a click track in our ears, and we're not. It's just that me and AC, the drummer, we have like a relationship back and forth, and we understand that he'll be leading the pack, and then when this part of the song, I'll loop the rhythm while we're playing, while Corey's doing a solo, and I'll loop my guitar, and then when it comes back around for him where we started, I'll play a solo with slide over it, and AC goes from leading to following, and then when I turn it off, back to leading, for tempo. And so he's really listening to that loop coming into his ears as he's playing. And so the stuff I'm doing on that acoustic is not normal. A lot of sound guys will tell you that's run sound for me, that is like, man, it's not, I wouldn't gain a guitar up past 15 or, 20. He's running up at 33. Why? Well, it's because you need everything that guitar can produce coming out. Because when I start doing it, you're going to back off quite a bit, and you're going to be working. That's been the hardest struggle. That's why we brought Gary on. We had Leighton Autry with us as well, and Joey Christopher. But all of them were like, man, I don't get to just set it and forget it. Like, we're working. They're pushing faders as I'm going up and coming out. And the loop station too, like, it naturally gets louder the more you add. Well, I'm only adding like one thing, but then the lead guitar comes in over it. So if you boost the channel, you're boosting both, so I got to make sure that boost lead is just sitting layered on top, but not too far down in the mix where you don't understand what I'm doing, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So real heavy handed, just a, kind of a powerhouse play. And I use a lot of open chords versus, like an open C or open G versus, the regular way you would hold it going through. But that's where, that's what makes Deadwood so good. And going back to your first question as to, when I said, if any one of y'all quit, I'm done. Because we work so well with each other. This isn't a go find another bass player to fit the part or a fiddle player or a drummer. These guys and what we do blend so well that if you were to take a different fiddle player and put in there, you would it wouldn't be a slight difference. It'd be a huge difference.
Yeah.
It's something that we've worked on, and it's made this sound, and we're staying with that sound, and we love it. I have never had this much fun on stage with a band ever. Like, every show, and it just seems like every show, it just keeps getting tighter and tighter and tighter and bigger. And some songs, we have this song called Fingers to the Bone, and it's a story about when I went to California and I was coming back, and I got stuck in Midland, Odessa, and I had a whole run to do through Texas. But it's really it's like Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison chords, but it's really fast, and it only keeps getting faster throughout the song. And man, before you know it, it is borderline like metal bluegrass before you get down to the end of it, and you're cooking, But in those moments where everybody syncs as one, and you're just driving, man, it's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah,
yeah, because you feel it. You're on stage, and the whole stage is shaking. Like, there's a video on YouTube of live at Mule Barn from New Year's Eve. We have the song called "Take You for a Ride," and when we get down to the nuts on this song, the energy is so high, the entire stage is shaking from us moving, not from the subs and shit that's kicking. It's a little bit of that, but it's the energy. The camera started doing this number where the rest of the set, they're just sitting still. And then when we really start going, they're moving, and you can just feel that energy pouring off the stage. Like, and I think that's because we play like we don't care if there's a crowd in front of us or not. We're playing this music because we enjoy doing it. Like, we're having fun, and the age bracket is from like literally 34 to 52. Like, it's this huge, 25. But on stage, I'm just saying, the guys on stage from like 34 to 45. So this huge age gap, right, between us. But we all play like we're 21 when we're up there. Like, it's just, we forget everything that's going on around us. So, yeah. So the answer to the guitar is, I kind of went off on a rant there, but the answer to the guitar is, yeah, I'm beating the crap out of this thing. It took Willie Nelson all his life to gain all these holes in his guitar. It took me 2 years to run one through an acoustic. So.
Yeah, it is like it definitely, like, every time I see like a worn acoustic, I always want to know the story, because like the way I play acoustic, I hate playing acoustic. It takes all of my ability out. Where, as people be like, "Oh, you play guitar," or when you put an electric in my hands, they go, "Oh, you play guitar."
Right.
But it's also like, if you are an acoustic artist, that you can definitely tell who's geared more to acoustic. But that's like Drew Herrickle. The first time I saw him, he stepped out from back behind the keyboards at the Cody Jinks show.
Yep.
And all the finish is taken off the top, because he has this like monster upstroke.
Yeah.
And I also, the other guy was playing it too. And I'm like, I actually, we went out and we sat down and I was talking to him, and I was like, dude, like, how? He goes, yeah, that's a pretty new guitar. I'm like, what? It blew my mind that like they can just, because I have, before I started listening to the country, I was playing the Jim Root. I have 2 Jim Roots, and they're unfinished. They're designed to wear with your playing.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was interesting to see like where like I'm putting all like my energy and like how I do play.
Yep.
And but yeah, on acoustic, that was like mind blowing to me, that you would need like a double pick guard.
I mean, yeah, like those EJs, like they're really thick on their finish down on that side of the guitar. And it started turning, the plastic where the pick guard is at, it started turning like bright pink, because I'm just scraping the finish off of it, and it's now down to like the inners of the plastic. It's like, well, there's going to be a hole there soon. Like, but those EJs, they take such a beating, and they just keep going, and they don't warp, especially in this Texas heat. Like, when we get down last summer, I thought it was funny. All we did was try to go north. We have been trying to get up to like Montana, Wyoming, Iowa, all the northern states is where we want to head to. And all we got was booked south. We did nothing but south gigs. And the heat of the summer, like 114 in the shade. And we ended up having to put an AC on our trailer to keep it running while we're running down the road down there, to keep things at like room temperature.
Yeah.
Because, you got a $15,000 upright, you got several, like a banjo, several fiddles, acoustics, so that wood's warping as we're going south, and the moisture, etc. And so, that the acoustic instrument, man, is a fickle thing, and electrics are too. They are too. They're just not as fickle. Like, if your intonation goes down or whatever, it's nothing to throw an Allen wrench in there and fix it real quick. But on acoustic, it's going to take a little bit more time.
Yeah.
You
ever thought of like composites? You ever play one?
I have. I had a Martin, that Martin thin body that was like matte black. I actually gave it to my father-in-law. It was one too small for me, and then it played great, but it would not stay in tune. Like, I could not, with what I do, it just would not stay in tune. But there are some new ones out there that I've been looking at, but I'm just like, I'm really interested in these guitars that I just want to see them up close. But these ones that have the app on top of it.
Okay.
You seen this?
Yeah.
I'm like, I wonder how good these things sound. What's going on with these?
Yeah. I was in Nashville, and I was amazed. First, at Nashville, I was amazed because of how touristy the town is. It's still kind of geared towards musicians, but this is a little while back, and I was like, oh, cool. It's one of those, carbonite composite, whatever. And I picked it up, and no one looked at me because it was $6,000. And I started playing it, and a guy came back from the counter, and he goes, I could see your face. You're surprised at how good this thing sounds, right? I was like, yeah. I was like, it sounds like a high-end Taylor. And I was like, I like that chiminess, that brightness. And he goes, yeah. And if you're camping, you can use it as a boat oar. He's like, it's indestructible.
What?
Nothing will ever warp it. He said, it'll play like this 100% of the time, everywhere you go. Because, wow. A lot of times, like, we call it, like, you got to go pop the cork. If you're going from a cold area in the north, or if it's in your car and it's air conditioning, and then you go out and it's 105, like, you have to let them adjust.
Right.
In a slow way, especially if, like, nitrocellulose, like a nitro finish, because that wood will move and it'll crack your finish. It's so weird, and not a lot of people know that there's like science, and you have to make sure that the humidity of where you store your instruments, and you're like, oh, why do you have a wet sponge in your sound hole? It's like, well,
Yeah,
you got to keep.
Yes, you do, man, for sure. I did a run up through Canada and got the exact opposite, like extremely cold and extremely dry. Like, I was not prepared for this. I didn't even think about it. And, and I get up there and I'm doing an acoustic run. I was doing a solo. I'm going to go do another one this summer. And now, during the summer, it's okay. But when you're up there, like right now, like, it's not okay. It's 50 below. Doesn't matter if it's Celsius or Fahrenheit, and it sucks. And it's dry. And like your skin, just the moisture just sucks right out of you. And I remember opening up my guitar case going, oh no, what happened? And then Adam, the guy I was with, he was like, dude, look at your elbows. You tell me what happened. And I looked up, I was like, oh God. I started looking at my hands. I was like, oh man, you're right, dude. Jesus Christ. What's happening to me? And then my voice started cracking. And there's actually a video online. I got with this other two guys up there, and we did like an electric set at this place called the Rosen Crown, and we played Take Me Back to Texas on there. And if you listen to me singing, dude, oh my God, it is horrible. I'm just like I'm trying to, like, I have no voice. I had to go for an hour and a half like this. And it was guitar solo heaven in that thing for the long, like, I was stretching songs out for like 17 minutes. Like, I was like, but I had my acoustic, like, was unplayable. Like, it was done. Like, and I was like, oh man, I did not prepare for any of this, and now I know. Like, this is what I got to do. This is the kind of guitar case I got to take. These are the things I got to throw in here to keep it, the moisture, all that stuff running. So, good Lord. But yeah, down here, totally different spectrum. Humidity, and then heat. And good Lord, bands, if you're out there, put an AC on your trailer. It was the best thing we ever did. That, and you get your own green room at any time, anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we used our trailer. We called it the office.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's par for the course.
Yeah. I mean, I told them, if you have anything bad to say about any of the bands or any of the musicians, you do it in here.
Yeah.
All opinions.
Stop here.
Yeah.
Right here. Yeah.
Because, I actually, I was managing a band. I broke my own rule. It's like, I'm pretty sure I got banned from the radio station, and I went off, and it was for a battle of the bands. We played all original music, and these guys, they played cover medleys. And it was for a original band festival, you all fight for the opening spot, and of course, ending with Freebird, you know what I mean? And it was they're going down to Georgia and they're going all through, and then it's and everyone's yeah, and I'm no.
Skinner, man,
yeah. I'm
but not what this was all about. I totally get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, yeah. They were well, what did you think about the thing? I was I'll tell you exactly what I think.
Yeah, let me grab this mic right quick, sir. Yeah,
I was
I thought we were an original thing here.
Yeah. And I was oh man, I got to give everybody a pass, at least one.
Yeah. I always tell my band, and we all mutually agree on this. There's two things we don't talk about: religion and politics. We don't talk about it in private, and we don't talk about it on any streaming platform. I learned my lesson doing that, because there was a while there where I was just whatever, screw music, I don't care. I'm just gonna speak my mind. It's not a great thing to do. Don't do that. It's terrible. Someone's always going to disagree.
Oh yeah, you alienate half your audience right from the get-go.
100%.
Yeah, and even if I believe, I was pulling up to a bar to play at, and they had all these political signs out, and I was just even if I agree with you, I don't know that if that's, I don't want anything to do with that. I'm here to leave all that behind.
Right.
And just, if everybody worked all week, let's have fun. Because no matter what, you're going to find someone that disagrees with anything.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
I mean, we're humans. We've all came up from different upbringings, and, you can be how could someone hate mac and cheese? Someone be I hate mac and cheese.
Why?
You know what I mean?
Because it's yellow.
Yeah.
And it's cheesy. And I'm those are great things. You don't like mustard?
No, mustard, that's another one I don't want.
It's yellow.
Mayonnaise. Mayonnaise 2025.
I like Hershey's, but I don't like, what's the other one? Yoo-hoo. I don't like Yoo-hoo. I like Hershey's.
Nesquik.
Down with Yoo-hoo.
Nesquik.
Nesquik.
We're independent.
Yeah. Keep it real. Dude, speaking of chocolate milk, oh my God. We were coming back from Sawyer Park down in Spring the other night. We did a turn and burn, went down, played, came back, had a show back and forth the next day. And we're coming up the highway, and Tristan, our merch tech, he's like, man, I'm kind of hungry. He's not a big sweets eater, but he'll drink chocolate milk like it's nobody's business. It could be 100 degrees outside. This kid's over there chugging chocolate milk, and all I hear is Anchorman in my head, milk was a bad choice. It's all I hear. And so we pull off, we're full rigging it here. So we pull off the highway and we go to this McDonald's. Well, they're closed. And then it took us 6 miles down on the access road. Then we finally got up on the highway. And then we come up on another golden arch, but the exit's closed. So we can't go to that one. And then we're further down, and then we finally get to this one. And he wanted a chocolate shake. He didn't want chocolate milk. He wanted a chocolate shake. He was bound and determined he was going to have this chocolate shake. We finally, after 20 some odd miles, we finally find another golden arch McDonald's. And we pull off, and we get up there. And I'm dude, I'm telling you. It's fucking McDonald's.
The machine's broke.
The machine's broke. I can tell you that right now. We've passed 20 McDonald's. All the machines are broke. They don't want to clean it. It's too late. He's like, no, man. The one by my house is usually good all the time. I never have issues there. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then we pull up and we're like, he's like, what can I get you? I'm like, we get a large chocolate shake. He's like, machine's broken. Tristan's just in the path sheet like, this is bullshit. He's just losing it. He's like, but we do have chocolate milk though. He's like, fine, lesser of two evils. I'll take that. You know. Then we all got burger. Well, anyway, we pull up to the window, and as we're looking in the window, you can see the chocolate, the ice cream, the yogurt machine. And this dude walks up and just went and made like a strawberry one, and then walked off. And I was like, Tristan, this is just karma. That's all this is. Like somewhere in time, you wronged somebody, and this is your payback. Yeah. Damn the chocolate shakes.
Oh, that's funny.
That's, shit you don't do on the road. I don't want to eat that. Like our drummer has a big thing about gravy. Like he'll get chicken fried steak, gravy on the side. He'll eat chicken fried steak with like ketchup.
Oh, I thought you meant he just ate gravy.
No,
like
he
like
just doesn't eat gravy. He's like, it's the easiest place to hide something. That's what he says. This is the easiest place to hide something. So if they were gonna, like hair or whatever falls into it, you're not gonna know it's in the gravy. You're just swallowing it down. I'm like,
you could really
that's one way to mind fuck yourself. I guess.
There's this. I think I would mess with it. Be like, oh look, where'd that come from? Oh, it's in the meat. You can't trust the meat now.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. You're like, oh, don't eat that. Don't eat that, man. It's the easiest place to hide something right there in that burger of yours.
So is it just gravy? Or is it all liquid form?
No, it's
food?
just gravies. Just gravy. Like, he won't get gravy.
There has to be a story. Is there like...
He says he worked at a restaurant, and that was his thing. Like, he was like, I was like, well, what restaurant were you? He was like, it's like a Chili's or something. Gravy? Yeah, what were y'all doing to the gravy? What the hell? Like, there's this place down in...
so thick and salty.
Waxahachie, there's this place called the Rocket Cafe. It's notorious, great live music, etc. But they are notorious for their chicken fried steak. Like, you go in this place, and this is what you get. Right? You don't order shit else on the menu. I couldn't tell you what their burgers taste like. I've been going there forever, but I can tell you that they have the best Texas chicken fried steak there is. And their gravy's perfect. I take them down there. We go with Deadwood to play there the first time. I'm like, man, you gotta, So Corey, Bob, Tristan, everybody involved. Everybody got the chicken fried steak. Everybody got gravy. He was the only one that was like, oh, no gravy. No, thank you. And we all went, what the fuck's wrong with you? He's like, oh, I put ketchup on it. I was like, what? And then that's when we learned. So we're all sitting there like mowing down. I'm like, man, this is so good. Like, I got gravy for my chicken fried steak and poured over my fries. Like, right. I'm just gravy happy over here. And I was like, why don't you like it? And he's like, man, it's the easiest place to hide something. Man, you never know what could be in the gravy. I'm like, I like to think that places pride themselves on their food and that they wouldn't let shit go into the gravy. So I don't know what kind of places you've been eating, but this place is known for its gravy and chicken fried steak. Yeah. I think you're safe here. Yeah, just one of those things. One of those band quirks.
Yeah,
one of the musicians. No gravy.
And what does he play?
Drums.
Yeah, that was more like a bass player type.
But no, Bob's got plenty of weird shit about him. I love him to death, but he's got plenty. He's what we call the did you know guy, because like every time like we'll be talking in the van and he'll come up with some crazy shit he's read on Google and he'll be like, did you know that blah 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 blah? And he'll tell us like, thanks for the info, Bob. Appreciate it. It's like, just thought you guys should know that. I was like, okay. In fact, I'm sitting here looking at the sheet for the Blood in the Water podcast, and we got one of those in here. It's about I'm going to pull it on him tomorrow, but I'm going to be like, did you know music can improve your memory and make it easier to remember things? And also, did you know that the oldest musical instrument is a flute made from bone dating back about 40,000 years? Just thought you should know that, Bob. That's your did you know for the day. Yeah.
That's funny.
Like I said, it's a plethora of personalities in this band. You want to find you a good fiddle player, find one with autism. Like, Corey's Corey's got the tiz, but good Lord, that boy can play, man. You know, yeah, he's an alien. There's just something shit he does on that fiddle, man. It blows my mind every time. Like when we were in the studio, we were coming up with stuff. He was laying things down just like this. Like there's this Rolodex of shit in his head. And he's like, "We'll try this. We'll try this. We'll try this. We'll try this. We'll try this." And then like after we recorded it, he had to go back and listen to what he did. He's like, "Man, how the hell did I do that?"
Yeah.
Like, he's one of those players that I want to put on like one of those chart deals where it's charting out what you're playing. And I just want to read it as it's coming out. Like, oh my God, dude. I bet it's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to your music earlier today, and I like when it's almost like he sounds like a dark organ, like in the background, just like just sounds like sometimes like thunder, and it comes out, and I just really like just how like it just goes in and out of the song.
Maybe it's the bass because he does play. He'll play with a bow on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he'll get into like really big sub low notes.
Huh.
But then we also have like on the Rain, there's this doo that happens, and that's a 808 drop that we have that plays through when it's on a pad. We hit, but we've gotten really used to Bob and AC syncing up when he hits that note, and Bob will slide down at the same time that he's hitting that 808, so it just shakes the room.
Nice.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Those pads. Yeah. Every time I'll see a drummer with those pads, man. Even like the drummer in my band, he knows. Because he knows I hate that snap.
Oh, yeah, I cannot. I'm so glad you said that because that and claps, I'm out.
I hate it.
I hate it.
And it has to be a fantastic song for me to be like, I hear you, but I can filter you out. But like he does it just to put
Just
a
to piss
smile
you
on
off.
his face.
Yeah.
Because I'll look back.
Stop that. Sucks.
Yeah.
AC was doing it for a bit. He had these, like this little, the snap coming in, you know, and he would do it. And I was like, stop it. I'd get in the talkback mic. I'd be like, stop it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Or I'll force feed you gravy.
You know what? I'm using that, dude. Listen, you don't do that. I will force feed you gravy from McDonald's.
From McDonald's.
You talk about a place that they will hide it. That's it.
I feel like it's funny. Like you can put so much more stuff in a chocolate shake. That's what the kids used to do.
You could.
In 7-Eleven, the kids used to shoplift. They'd get the big gulp thing, put candy and all kinds of stuff in it, and put the icy on top. So and you
hide it.
That's a $1.09. That's how they walked away with. You just take the candy's all wrapped and everything. It's
Good Lord. I never
Gravy.
thought about it like that. What do you guys got? What are you guys doing up in Delaware? What's going on up there?
we're crafty.
You guys, in your band, do you guys ever use the? Do you guys have an intro when you guys play?
We always used to have this. We open up with the same song every time I play with the one my one band. But
You guys should do the intro of you got to throw. Of course, you got to throw. God damn it! What is it? Wayne's World.
Oh yeah.
Let's go to Delaware. I'm in Delaware. You got to throw that in there somewhere,
dude. Like, one of the craziest places I've ever been is Dewey, Delaware. It's nuts. It's from any time, any day, someone will get absolutely trashed. There's always parties. Breweries sponsor houses. It's crazy. And I don't know if he still. Dave Grohl had a house down there, and he would just go sing karaoke at like the bars and whatnot.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, we have beaches, but we're just like a skipping stone to like it. Being from Texas, and a lot of Texans, it blows their mind that I can get in my car, and 15 minutes I can get to New Jersey, and I can drive through Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware all in one shot.
That doesn't blow my mind at all.
No,
I mean, well, probably because I've toured all my life, but
yeah,
my wife, on the other hand, she got a taste of it as we were coming back. We went up to Kansas. We went during Christmas. We went to go see my family up there, and when we were coming back, we were at the tip of Oklahoma and Kansas on 35. And I was like, "Look, honey, it's 3 hours and 30 minutes to get home from here." She goes, "Yeah." And I go, "We have to cross the entire state, north to south of Oklahoma and half of North Texas to get home." She goes, "Whoa, I never thought about it like that." I was like, "Well, think about this. When we were in Kansas City, 3.5 hours, we could have been in Chicago." You know what I mean? She's like, "What?" I was like, "You don't realize how big Texas is until you're," I mean, from Fort Worth to El Paso is 10 hours. From El Paso to the Santa Monica Pier is 10 hours. Like it's huge. I always think about that, like when like Kelly, our booking agent, when she gets us shows up in like Arkansas, stuff like that. I'm like, it's just a 4.5 hour drive. They're like, "Man, 4.5 hours, that's a long time to get up to Hot Springs or whatever." I'm like, "Dude, we drive 4.5 hours to get to Sawyer Park in spring." Like they're like, "Oh yeah, that's right." I'm like, "Dude, 7 hours to get down to Corpus, to go play." I'm like, 7 hours? We could be in Des Moines. Geez, think about it. Yeah. It's crazy though. I hate going west. I hate going to West Texas because it's just, you leave the scenery of Fort Worth, whatever scenery that is, then you get out to Abilene, and then it's just when you pass Abilene and you hit Sweetwater, it just flat windmills, fields, windmills, highway, fields, more windmills. Somebody's dog's running away that's been running. They're still watching them for 4 days. Yeah. Like, it is so flat. And then you get out to Lubbock and you're just like, "Oh my God, it's so flat out here," And then it's what's really crazy too is like when you're going up on, 287, you get up to Amarillo. You'll be going up through there. And then like as you're going to Colorado, you're in the flatlands, some of them for the Panhandle. And then you take a right and you start going north off of 287. Whatever highway that is, and all of a sudden you see out of nowhere, like 10 miles out, it's just dunes. There's all these dunes, and then before you know it, you're going up into the corner of like New Mexico. Then you get up to Colorado, and then like the first mountain you see in the distance, so you're like, "Oh my God, there's scenery." You're just like, something to look at. I would rather be out in East Texas staring at 50-foot trees than stare at open plain West Texas any day of the week. Yeah. Yeah, I wish there was more places to play in East Texas. There's not. Yeah. No.
The only time I experienced that, I took an Uber out to Salina.
Oh God, Kansas?
No, Texas.
Okay, all right.
I'm pretty sure it's Salina for the Troubadour festival.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I was like, and there's like a lot of like nice neighborhoods, but in it, if there wasn't a neighborhood around, it was just like, man. That's pretty flat because around here, like, we got hills.
Yeah. That's kind of the way DFW is. It's just a bunch of hills and streets and concrete jungle out here.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I want Deadwood to go north. So let me ask you this. And I hear about a lot of this, and I don't know if it's in your area, and it could be more through like Wyoming, Montana, Colorado. So our genre of what you would call Texas country or Americana, for what we do in Deadwood, which is basically, Mumford and Sons and Dave Matthews had a love child kind of thing. It doesn't really have a spot down here, but we get thrown into the Texas country Americana market. But up to like Northwest, like Montana, etc., they call it murder folk.
I've heard that.
Okay, all right. So you're hearing it out there too. So I've had plenty of people hit me up online through our website and be like, "Man, you guys are so good, man. Murder folk all day." Like all that. It's so strange to hear it because all we hear down here is Americana Texas country.
Yeah, I'm in the Northeast.
Yeah,
I've heard that because of oh my God, Pawns Are Kings.
Okay.
And I watched his channel, and they have like all like spooky core.
Yeah.
With like the banjos and all those ballads.
Devil Makes Three.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that, which I love. Like, I'm a huge fan of those guys. Those bands, though, are fucking good. like Goodnight, Texas. That's another one. You know, what was the name of that? They got really popular for the one where they were snapping their fingers the whole time. Dead South.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's Poor Man's Poison. That's another one. I'd love to go on tour with those guys. That'd be insane. What a ride that would be.
Yeah.
I mean, just for the fact that, like, Poor Man's Poison, or was it? No, it was. It was Poor Man's Poison. I think that they were all they were in a metal band, and then they switched over to bluegrass instruments and started learning how to play these bluegrass instruments and doing all the metal songs on that and doing them kind of in a bluegrass way, and that's how that was born. And it was like, whoa, well, we're kind of in the same boat because we took Texas rock and roll and threw it over all these instruments, and it's working really well.
Yeah.
You know,
it's definitely a blend of elements of almost like everything. You definitely have like a very signature sound.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Isn't that for any band? Like, you want to have a sound, and you want to. I think we just did it without looking for it. It was just like, and to this day too. Like, when we get in the rehearsal space and we write, I'll come in with a song, and it may, like, we have this song called "Game of Ghosts" that we love now. In fact, when we do the record, we're going to title the record "Game of Ghosts." But it came in very Tyler Childers-ish. Very, you know. It came out like Social Distortion and Tyler Childers had a love child. Like, it was, whoa, you know, this went so huge, you know. But those bands, man, those murder folk bands are just insane. It's so crazy too, man. Up to, like, you know, Colorado, especially, you know, they got a lot of bluegrass that runs through there. But then to see these bands getting mixed in, and then to have people now looking at us going, "You guys should come play Colorado. This would be great here." You know, so we're trying to do that. Get up to anywhere, you know. Yeah, Kelly's busting her butt on that.
I think you guys do good around like West Virginia, around here. They have a lot of cool venues.
You ever go to like Fort Bragg, North Carolina, or anything like that?
North Carolina. I went to. I always forget what Carolina Myrtle Beach is in. I've been to Myrtle Beach and Dunn, North Carolina, to the Bird's Nest, the listening room, which they have a lot of people from the Texas country, that type of country.
If you do get the chance to go to Fort Bragg, there's a guy there named Patty Gibney, who is a local musician, and what's great is his gimmick was that he's full-blood Irish, and his fiddle player's full-blood English. So technically they should hate each other, right? But they did nothing but like Irish jig tunes, but then he had a bunch of originals that he did as well. Well, he didn't tour. He just played for all the people on the military base constantly. And then he got to where he was hosting shows constantly doing this thing. We met him. I met him when I was on an acoustic tour, and by random. Well, now he owns a place there called Patty's. He owns his own live music venue. And man, it's been several years. It's been since 2007. But I keep watching him online. He actually has it's called like Patty's Complaint Box. It's on YouTube. So when people go on and give him bad reviews and shit like that, he calls them out. Or if he gives them a good review or whatever, it's Patty's Corner kind of deal. And he talks about the review online. It's hysterical, man. Listen to this guy talk about it. He's like, there was one lady on there. She was like, I went into Patty's just to have lunch. That was at 5:00. And at 11:30, I finally went home. I was shit-faced. And he was like, God bless you, lady. Wish I could have you on tap. You know, that kind of thing. I'm like, dude, this guy, man. But yeah, man, I think Virginia would be great. Just out that way. What, you know, like Kentucky maybe? I mean, we've never ventured into Kentucky.
Yeah, I've probably driven through it. I don't know. I've never been to Kentucky.
Where's the machine shop at? Is that in Michigan?
The machine? I have no idea.
Machine shop? That's like a legendary venue. I think it's Michigan. I think it's around Detroit.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was just in Virginia this weekend.
It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the scenery and the mountains, and I guess that I guess that would be, I don't know. I hate to say like the Shenandoah. I always get West and Virginia mixed up, and they're not fans of that.
I think one of my favorite places on earth is well, I have two, but one of them for the States would be East Tennessee.
East Tennessee,
just gorgeous, man. Good God, so nice out there. I mean, the dream would be to just buy a small home and just be able to drink coffee on that front porch every morning. Good Lord, the scenery is so good. Plus, I think you get all your seasons out that way, which we don't here. We get, 10 months of summer and 2 months of winter. Like, it is, it's 80 degrees outside right now.
Wow.
It's February 2nd, 3rd, whatever. Good Lord. Like, it's 80.
Yeah, that's
Punxsutawney Tony Phil was full of shit, man. Maybe for up there, our armadillo, on the other hand, that came out of his hole is drinking beer with the shades on right now.
We go. Punxsutawney Phil, whatever his name is.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. I was like, man, that poor bastard.
Yeah, I've never gone there.
You should totally do that. You're so close.
I don't know. I never even Googled where it is. Pennsylvania is pretty big. Well, to me.
Yeah.
I've gone around.
I wouldn't mind playing Jersey, but I don't think I'd like to go to New York again. I went there twice. My second time I went to New York, I ended up in handcuffs on the curb 30 minutes after getting off the airplane. I was like, ooh, probably shouldn't. I didn't go to jail, but I was close.
Yeah.
They don't like their southern hospitality up there.
Yeah.
I learned that real quick.
Yeah.
I was walking out, so I get in, I fly in, come in with a backpack, pedal board, and a guitar. I was playing the Bitter End, which is a legendary up there in Manhattan. And the cabbie said, hey, you're only like 2 blocks. We were stuck in bumper to bumper. He's like, you're only 2 blocks. If you want to get out of here, man. I was like, hey, dude, thanks. Nice guy. Paid him. Got out. I'm walking down the street, and there's this lady coming towards me. She had like a bunch of boxes in her hands, and she was going towards the door. And I set my pedal board down and opened the door. And I guess the dude behind her didn't appreciate me doing that. And we ended up getting into a squabble. And before you know it, I'm on the curb in handcuffs with a cop going, don't do that again. I'm like, what, be nice? How's it being nice? How the hell am I the bad guy here? Like, he's like, we don't do things like that up here. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go play my gig now and get the fuck out of here as quick as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That sounds New York. It's when I was playing a show. I was playing guitar for Brian Martin. And he's like, man, this is the farthest north I've ever been. I was like, no, I would not call this the north. And he was like, really? I said, yeah, when someone yells at you for holding the door open for you, now you're in the north.
Now you're in the north, right. Yeah.
What, you think I can't open the door? Get out of here.
Yeah, he was like, what are you doing? Open the door for my old lady. I was like, being nice? I'm holding the door for you too, asshole. What the hell?
Yelling at each other?
You know her? Yeah, that's what he said. You're right on the money. He was like, you know her? I was like, no, man, I'm not even from here. He's like, he took a shot at me. He took a swing at me, and that's what ended up into a fight. I'm like, are you fucking
I'll go to jail. I don't care.
Yeah. Little dude too, man. He was probably like, I don't know, 5 foot. But big. He was kind of swole, and he's like, don't you do that. You don't do that over here. Just screaming at me.
Big tree fall hard.
Right. I was like, what the hell?
How would he even hit you?
I don't know. It's one of those where you just put your hand on their head. Just settle down, little fella. Jesus. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Be careful. You're going to hurt yourself.
Give me 15 more minutes.
What's that? What was that? Replacements? He's like, can of corn, I'll be okay. Can of corn, yeah. Jesus. When are you going to make it back down Texas way?
Actually, I missed the window of when I'm supposed to request my vacation time, but I don't know. It's a lot of these festivals. I'm still agreeing with the festivals, because I'll be like, oh, what hotel you're staying at? They're like, what? There's no hotels out here. You got to camp. I'm like,
yeah.
Well, how am I going to fly in and camp? We're going to have a big Coleman tent. I'm like, I don't.
No, you could. So there are some cheaper route. There's some RVs. Like if you fly in the DFW, there's some RV rentals that you can get that is literally just like a little like a Winnebago, right? Sleeps 2 people, maybe 3, but they're cheap to rent. It's like renting an Airbnb.
Really?
Yeah, they're not that much. It's like renting a car, but you can camp in that, and then you pay for like the gray water and all that stuff to be taken out. But going to a festival, you just look and see if you can do that, and then especially having a podcast too, you could run a podcast from the inside of it.
Yeah,
that kind of deal.
Yeah. Oh man. Like some people, a lot of people don't know. Like I have a regular 9 to 5, and it's a lot. Trying to, because I'm also playing in bands too, so it's like my weekends get tied up, and then I like to go down. Like I was talking to you earlier. I went down to see Taylor Honeycutt and Tony Lowe in Virginia to go see them, because a lot of times that's as close as the Texas people come. They seem to just skip Philly all this year. I'm looking, they're not playing in Philly. So do I go to Brooklyn or DC, which the traffic is terrible. But with these festivals, you can knock out a couple days. You can knock out a whole year of Texas artists, which I love. But it's just I don't really know the in and outs of certain festivals. What it should do is get Matt Westerman's number, or somebody that knows everything about all of that, and
you guys
really
hook him up. Leave it in the comments for him. I mean, people that are watching, they'll leave it in there for you. Months ahead, months way out. I think they're already playing in Mile O Fest, and they just finished. They're already getting artists ready to go for that.
For say Mile Zero,
and then
I've been to that.
Larry Joe and Steamboat and all that stuff. Those are great festivals. I don't think Deadwood will ever play on them.
You don't think?
No. Like I said, dude, we don't fit into that Texas country genre.
I've seen some people that I wouldn't say fitting in it as well.
I'm not saying that we wouldn't love to. We would absolutely do it. You know what I mean? I just don't think that we're going to get onto those, because it's just not. It's weird, man. It's such a strange deal. People that we get asked to go play with, right, or to go open up for. For instance, a couple months ago, we did Everclear, right? Or,
big one.
It was a big one. It was great. It was fucking packed. I think we did 2,000 in merch that night. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
But our age demographic technically fits for those festivals, because our age demographic runs from 32 to 55, right in that zone. And so when we even do our shows locally, we only have a few places that we play at. For instance, this Saturday we're playing at Rhinestone down the Stockyards, right?
Yeah, somebody.
I had to get a hold of Chris and be like, hey, man, a lot of these people are wanting tables. They're wanting to reserve them. Our crowd, they're coming. A lot of our crowd could care less about the stock show. They're there to see the show. They want to see us, And so we do a 2-hour show or less. We will not do 3-hour, 4-hour gigs. We just won't do it. We bill it as a 2-hour show with no break, and we play straight through. Song after song, talk to the crowd a little bit, but we give the people a show. That's the deal. We're all performers. Let us perform. Let us give you a show. So when a place like Mule Barn or Rhinestone or Bartonville, places like that, they let us do the 2-hour show or a 90-minute. And it's one of those things too where I'm like, man, you give us 2 hours, it's great. It's awesome. You give us 90 minutes, it's incredible. You give us 60 minutes, hold on tight, because you just get nothing but your dick kicked in the whole show, and it's just this flow going through the night. And so those festivals, we would love to do them. I would absolutely love to go do them. But it's weird, like the stuff that we're the Whitefish Festival up in Montana, like we're being considered for that, or there's this really cool one, and we've been trying to get on it. It's a really rad deal. It happens in Colorado Springs, and it's called Blues Train, and it's a train, and all the carts have bands on them, and they travel town to town. They do this whole thing, and you're crammed. I mean, it'd be like setting full band up in the studio, like we're all just in a line playing, but there'll be like 50, 60 people on the cart watching you, and then the next night you shift to that crowd. You stay on that cart, and the crowd shifts to the next cart. So there's like 10 bands playing on this train. It's incredible. And then people, they stop off at the hotel, and everyone goes and parties, and you got to be back on the train at a certain time the next day, and then it goes to the next town. It's like a week-long thing.
Huh.
And I've been wanting to, and it's really selective. Like you can't submit for it. You can't, but you have to be, someone's got to be in the know and tell them, hey, you need to check out this band. And then they contact you. Well, they finally contacted. And I'm like, oh, dude.
It's like the Opry.
Yes, totally. Like Green Hall, for example. Like you can submit, but Jesus, you're just going to be throwing your shit into the middle of 2 million bands trying to get into Green Hall. And then we finally got that call. It was back in December. You interested in playing Green Hall? Absolutely. That's a notch on the belt. That's like, I'd rather play there than Billy Bob's. But I don't know. I don't know that we'll ever do those festivals. I mean, Larry Joe Taylor's like an hour from here. It's right down the road. But I think a lot of that too has to do with like the Texas country chart, the top 100, top 50, that kind of deal, which is understandable. You know what I mean? But are we on there? No, I don't even think The Rain broke the top 100 for the Texas chart, but it was like I think it came in at number 28, ended at number 15 on the regional internet radio chart, which is soaring, as before we were like, internet radio, whatever. Now that's like becoming the thing to listen to.
Yeah.
More people are listening to internet radio than terrestrial radio. And then we got a call saying that the IR chart for the Americana chart for the United States, we landed at like number 24. I was like, wow. Holy shit. Okay. Well, and like, we don't push, like people are always like, well, you have such low Spotify numbers. We don't push Spotify. It's on there. Go listen to it, but I don't think bands should be judged by how many followers they have on a streaming service.
Yeah.
I think bands our age have forgotten what guerrilla marketing is. And I think that bands coming out today rely too much on that. And they get in their feels about it. Like, man, we only have like 1,200 followers on Spotify. Who gives a shit? Play music.
Yeah.
Make videos. Good Lord. Use TikTok. Use Instagram. Use Facebook. Play live. Get your shit out there. Get it known. Make music videos. Like, I think the best thing we ever did was this live recording, because it's like people love coming to see the live show. So, it's 17 live tunes and it sounds great. I can't wait to get it out. That's going to be a huge deal for us, because I think that's bigger than us going in the studio and recording. In the studio, you know how it is. It's like you're concentrated on this and you're really working on it, blah, blah, blah. But as we're live, it's organic as it can possibly be. But God, it sounds good. I was shocked when I got home New Year's Day. I got in here in the studio and plugged it in, and I was downloading everything. And I started just listening to just dry, because it's just literally, preamp, straight to the computer. Yeah. No mix, no pre's, nothing like that. It's just DI, mics just straight to, and I'm listening to it just flat. I'm like, God, Lord, this sounds awesome. Like, now go through and EQ everything down and master it, etc. And then I was just blown out of the water with it. It was just like, whoa. Because, you know, like, it's one of my favorite things to listen to is live records.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, you really can tell who you're listening to when you know, like John Mayer on a record's one thing. John Mayer live is a whole nother ballgame. Like, I've sat on the side of the stage in his entire show and just watched that dude. Just like, man, this son of a bitch. Dude, this guy can play his ass off.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's fun. Like, I love this playing. I totally think he's underrated, but I've never like really done like a deep dive on his
In the
albums.
John Mayer?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
But like it's weird. Like, I have a Silver Sky right over there. Like, I love his tone. I like everything about it. I don't know. Like, it's probably because I'm so like into what I'm doing on like TikTok.
Totally. 100%.
It was like the other day. Like, I heard a Stevie Ray Vaughan song I've never heard before. I was like, how did this happen?
There's a lot of those, man.
Yeah, especially now, because like back in the day, like if you were a fan and you wanted all access, you had to pay for like those special editions, catch them at a certain time.
Box sets.
Books, dude, exactly.
Oh.
Now you go on like Apple Music. It's like if you have a subscription, it's free. Like I heard an Ozzy Osbourne song I've never heard before, and it was like a special edition. It came from a box set of like one of his like, you know, we didn't think it was good enough, but if it makes money, it makes money. If it doesn't, what are you gonna do? Not like us, you know? Like you've been a fan. We've changed. We grew up together.
What was it? Nirvana a few years back released a tune, and we were like, "What?"
Yeah.
You know, everyone's minds were blown, and it was like some of their shit that they just, I don't know if we're gonna release this or not, and it was just sitting on some reel somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like famously, The Vault, Prince.
Mm-hmm.
What's locked in there? Like, probably your computer. I know my computer. Like, I have people come over here and record. They listen to it. I'm like, man, this is really good. And they're like, nah, this sucks. Don't ever release that. I'm like, dude, why are you hoarding gold? First off, no offense, you're a nobody. What's it gonna do?
Right.
If anything, it's gonna do positive things for you.
We were traveling down the road the other day. Well, I say the other day. It's been a few months. We were going down the road, and it's in the middle of the night. We got like 5 hours ahead of us, and Corey was like, "Do you have any songs you've recorded that have never been released?" I was like, "Do I?" Like, I've got a whole cloud full of those things. And he's like, well, let's listen to him. And then that's when we started. Well, it's been longer, a few months. It's been like 4 months, 5 months now. But we started listening to him, and there's a song called Got Me Running that's on there. And I did it all here in the studio, played keys on it and guitar and whatnot. And he was like, dude, we got to do this song. Like, I can't believe you haven't put this up to us yet. And so now we play it. But it's just shit that we sit on, you know. But there's so many bands like that, dude. Like, you go back to like some of the Metallica box sets and go listen to the shit on there, and you're just like, why didn't you guys release this instead of the Load records? Like, this is way better, you know. But then again, like, now in my age, I'm like, Load and Reload was pretty fucking good. Okay. That was like, there's a song on there called Ronnie that they never play live.
Yeah.
Ever.
Is that the one?
Yes. Yes.
That bloody day.
Yeah. Yes. Such a killer song.
Sunshine.
It's just so, the groove in it is so good. And I'm just like, man, I would love to see them do that now. Like, but you won't. You won't see them do that. You know, it's all about that shitty snare record.
The trash can.
Have you seen that dude on TikTok? It's like they're trying to recreate that, and he's like, hit it harder, and he's like jumping up and hitting it, and he's like, no, we gotta hit it harder, and he like gets a 2x4 out and he's slamming it on the snare. He's like, we need more mics, and he's got like 50 mics around it. They're hitting it with wrenches and shit. I don't know how Lars did this. I was like, damn.
Yeah, dude. Damn. Saint Anger, that is such a great riff. You're like,
I can't get out of that damn dung, dung. I just can't get away from that shitty snare.
yeah, it's right up there with snap and clap tracks.
Somebody did the stems to that, and they put it up online, and they put triggers over Lars' drums, and you're like, if Lars sounded like a real drummer. Then they replayed Saint Anger. I was like, oh, well, that sounds incredible. Why didn't we do this? You know,
I can't believe they didn't remaster it themselves, because just the reaction of people. It's kind of they drew the line and said, nope, that's how it's always going to be, unless we play it live. Which
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong. I mean, sure.
As a fan, you're like, come on, man, but you still respect it. Hey, we tried something different.
Yeah.
Y'all gave us hell when we cut our hair.
Yeah, load. Yeah. I was like, those were the heroin days.
Yeah. What's funny is they were like sitting front row for Alice in Chains Unplugged, and they like looked out and saw they'd cut their hair, and the guitar player wrote, "Friends don't let friends give each other haircuts" on the guitar. And they're like, they had to sit there and just.
Oh no!
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Jerry Cantrell that did it.
Yeah.
I just remember hearing that. They're like,
he's one of my favorite guitar players.
Yeah,
I love the somber, metallic, dark, just melodic riffs that guy comes up with. You know, what was it? God, when the new lead singer came in, it was their first hit song. And I was just like, dude, Jerry, stop, man. This is killing me. I love it. Like, don't stop. Keep going. Okay, maybe a little bit more. I went down the rabbit hole on that record years later. I should have listened to it then, but I didn't. And bro.
I still need to go through it too. I saw him live with the new singer, and obviously it'll never be Lane.
No.
But it was still. I still consider it an Alice in Chains concert.
I got a great story about Alice in Chains. So I was a kid. I was like 10 or 11. My dad drag raced. Like, that was his, like, I'm a musician and I have a job. He had a job, and his thing was he was a pro drag car racer. And we were at a car show, and it was in Fort Worth. It was at the Will Rogers deal here. Anyway, so he's in this car show, and me and my friend Bobby, we were just being kids, and we're out running around all over Will Rogers Coliseum, and we go outside, and we see this back door open, and all these what I know now as Prevost, all these buses, and we walked right in the back door. Like, nobody said a fucking word. Nobody said anything. We walked right in the back door, and we came through, and there's all these people sitting around, and they're all just kind of looking at us like, what the hell? And of course, you're a child, so you're thinking, like, I would be thinking now, like, oh, well, that's obviously someone's kid. Just leave it alone until they become an asshole, And so they just let us walk right through, and we went in, and we walked down this row, and we came up to the side of the stage, and there's Alice in Chains performing. And I had no idea at that time who Alice in Chains was. And this dude comes up. He's like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, just watching the band. Is your mom and dad around here? I was like, yeah, they're over there, right, in the other building, right? And he's like, okay, well, just come over here. And he, like, put us over on the side of the stage. And we sat there and watched the rest of the not the rest of it, but most of it. And Lane Staley came up and was, like, drying his face off. He had a towel, and he's drying his face off. He's like, he kind of looked at us kind of weird. He just kind of like, what the hell are these children doing here? He's like, what are you guys doing? I was like, watching you play, sir. And he was like, don't drink any of the booze or some shit like that, and walked off. And I was like, okay. And, a couple of years later, we were listening to I think it was, what was it, that movie? Damn Big Gun
What is
came
it?
out. That was Big Gun. No, that was AC/DC. What was the
They had
Last Action Hero came out, and I heard this guitar on there. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. And I'm listening to it, and Bobby was like, dude, that's Alice in Chains. And I go, okay. He goes, Will Rogers, we were kids. That was the band we were watching. I was like, oh, that was the dude. And then it hit me, and I was like, oh my God, what? Like, starstruck in the moment. But yeah, that's my Lane Staley story. Like, but I've been a fan ever since. Like, Jar Flies blew my mind. Like, Mad Season, good God, mercy. Like,
I'd forgotten about them. So I was just talking to somebody. He was like, what are you doing TikTok? And I said, oh, And he goes, man, I really like that band, Mad Season. And I was like, Mad Season, why do I know that? He goes, the guy used to sing in Alice in Chains. I was like, oh my God, how did I forget about Mad Season?
Well, you say that nowadays, and more people are like, 90s kids are like, you mean, God damn it, Matchbox 20 Mad Season? That's what it is. I'm like, Rob Thomas? No. The other one where they were all on drugs.
Yeah.
The entire record. I've even thought about that. Like we've thought about doing like a tribute, just a record, just a tribute. Because one thing that we like doing in Deadwood is like we'll take iconic songs and do it the way we want to. We don't do it exactly like the song. We do it our way. Like we do Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper. And it's a lot of fun. And we do it, too, also to break the ice with the crowd about halfway through the show and get people singing back and forth with us, that kind of thing, But I thought, man, how cool would it be to do a Deadwood rendition of the entire record of Mad Season? Like, how badass would that be? Yeah, with the string section and everything with it, symphony drums, like, be cool. Wake up, young man. Like, oh, dude, what a great record. That whole record, man. That's one of the few records I can listen to front to back.
Yeah.
A lot of people, my wife hates it because we get on the road and I'll put something like that in. I'm like, oh, here we go. Just play this whole record. She's like, can we please listen to something else? I'm like, I know, you don't get it. I get it. It's like Stevie Ray Vaughan. She can't understand it. I'll put on Texas, whatever. I'll just let it roll through on random. She's like, okay. I get it. He plays guitar. Can we move on? I'm like, yeah. We'll listen to your fucking Taylor Swift. God damn it.
Yeah. I remember the first time I heard it, I was, man, this guy's good. But nothing compared to the first time I seen him on a video. I was just like,
Stevie?
Oh, holy shit. I was like, I was like mad at myself. I'm like, I can't believe I listened to that song. I went, oh, this guy's a good player. And then
we're talking about Stevie Ray Vaughan?
Yeah, Stevie Ray.
Yeah, dude. 100%.
I was like, oh my God. And then you watch him live, and then you go back, and then the records hit you so much.
I've got a VHS tape of him live at Austin City Limits, and it is worn out. Worn out. You can be. Yeah. I still got the tape, and it was recorded off TV, right? It's worn out in the part where he's playing Little Wing, and he does this one-handed walk down. And I watched that so many times, trying to figure out how the hell he did this. All the way down. And if I were to plug that VHS in right now, I'd probably turn in the dust. But back then, you would get to that part and it would be just scrambled because I had burned through it so many times while he'd stop, rewind, play. Oh my God, stop, rewind, play over and over again watching that part. God, yeah, you're right, dude. What an incredible, just a legend. Just an amazing legend. Yeah. I got a story about him too, man. Old band that I was in called SoCo started in Oklahoma City. I actually started with Jared Hardigree, Jeff Lee, Curtis Wrights, but Josh Thompson, who plays bass for Cody Jinks, has been with Cody since he was bartending here in Fort Worth. That band broke up. I moved back to Texas, and then because we had so much branding with the name, I just put new musicians in, started in a different band, different kind of music with the same name, Soko. And this bass player we had at the time, he wasn't in the band very long, and he had a house in Southlake, his mom and dad's place. And it was this really off the path, you had to know where it's at, kind of spread, back in the trees, but a really kind of a Spanish take on the home, arches and the tan roof, and but it had this guest house, and I've got the jar of picks and I can't reach it. It's over here in the closet. It's blocked by a bunch of shit. But so we're in this guest house and we're using it as a rehearsal space. And he had said, I said, man, this room is awfully set up perfectly for a band to rehearse in. Like, it almost seems like there was a band in here for a long time. Just looking at the old shag carpet and how there's like marks in the floor from furniture and whatnot. He's like, yeah, my dad bought it from this lady that her son was a musician, and they used this room as a room to jam in. So skip ahead a few months. He wanted to rip the carpet out of that shag carpet. He wanted to rip it out and put in like, laminate floor, right? And so I was like, yeah, man, I'll help you do that. So we went over there and we were moving the amps out and everything, and we're pulling up the carpet where my amp sat in the corner. It looked like an old, like a small amp had sat there for a long time and never moved. And then as you move my Mesa out of the way, there's this like indention in the floor, right? And I'm pulling the carpet back, and it's in a corner, and I'm pulling the rug back. And as I pull it back, there is just a ton of guitar picks that you could tell had been sitting on an amp and had fallen off and gotten down in between the wall and the carpet. And I was like, oh my God. And then there was like a couple of little like baggies down in there, you know what I'm saying? That are all like shit, half smoked cigarettes, fell back there, a joint or two. I'm like, oh my God, dude. Who was this guy that your dad bought this place, or this woman? His son was like some sort of blues player. This guy's a bass player, right? And you think he would know, and this just showed me this guy's intelligence. He's like, some guy named like Stevie Ray or Stevie Ray Vaughan. I was like, what? Wait, what? I was like, this was Stevie Ray Vaughan's house. Oh, it was his mother's house. He bought it for his mom. And I'm like, we're talking about like the Stevie Ray Vaughan, Double Trouble. Like this is. He's like, yeah, that's it. He's like a blues player. I'm like, dude, do you have any idea who you're talking about? He goes, no. I was like, I like literally like pulled it up. I was like, this guy, He's like, oh yeah, cool. He's just another blues player. I'm like, well, I'm going to take all these picks. And I took everything I found in that corner, down to the cigarettes, to the little baggies, the half joint, and the picks, and I stuck them all in a mason jar he had in there, tightened the lid on it. I've got it sitting in here in the closet now. I've had it for, God, that's 20 years ago. Easy. But I still got it. And I was just like, man, I cannot believe we were rehearsing in the place that he rehearsed. So that just means when he was coming through town, that's where he would crash.
Yeah.
How many, oh my God, if that room could talk. What was written in there? What was written in this place? Holy shit. Still haunts me to think about it. Like, God, what a waste. Like, because the dude, like, was a douchebag. Like, it was just like, what happened? How do you... It's like a classical player not knowing who Mozart is.
Yeah.
What?
Beethoven. I love that dog movie.
Yeah, right. Some guy who was a dog. He was in a movie. Like, wow. Okay, dude. Well, that sucks for you to know that all this history is just... You could probably lick the carpet in that place and get a bunch of, good vibes running through you real quick. You might get sick, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, I slept on the floor and I was up for 3 days.
It was great. I was watching Nick Swartzen last night. He was talking about, no, I don't even want to get into this, but he said something about cocaine, like fake cocaine. He was like, It's not real. It's impossible cocaine. Just sniff it. Here you go. Nope. That's not cocaine. Nope. It's meth. You're going to be up for a while. Enjoy the ride. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that would be like,
that mason jar is like your mojo sack.
believe me, there's been nights where I secretly like just kind of hold that thing in my hand while I'm trying to write a song. Like,
Talk
talk to me, buddy. Talk to me. Yeah. I'm not near the guitar player that guy was ever, but that's one of my biggest influences, and stuff that I learned from that, trying to do on acoustic is, kind of what brought me to my sound on an acoustic guitar. Like, like you were listening to it and you were like, man, the chunk in that guitar, like the way it comes, that's what I'm talking about. It's that sound,
Yeah, I watched him do the unplugged on a 12 string like it was nothing.
Yeah.
I was just like, my hands hurt just watching him. I'm like,
Oh, dude.
it's like Zach Wilde when I was watching him play Hendrix with distortion on an acoustic. I'm like,
Yeah. I didn't play my electric for 2 years with Deadwood. It just sat in the in the vault. Did nothing. And I've been playing acoustic for so long, for 2 years, show after show after show after show. And then here recently, in the last few months, we started working in the electric, and I picked up that telly. I started playing. I had to kind of relearn the feel because I hadn't played on it in so long. But as I'm playing, I'm like, God damn, this right here, this is easy.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? I'm like, this is butter.
Yeah, especially the acoustic, those strings and all the tension. It's a work.
1356s, polylobes.
Yeah.
They'll eat
And-
through your fingers real quick.
You get on a standard guitar, you can do like a 4-note bend.
Yes. And trust me, on some of them, when I'm really getting into it, I'm like, ooh, as I'm bending it, I'm just waiting for it to, snap. I'm just like, oh, it didn't happen. Good deal. Whew, made it through this one. We had this song called The Creep that there's this whole blues intro to the front of it. And that's how the show intros. It intros with this big intro, and it builds up, and it's real big, and then it falls off, and then it goes into this blues riff. So it has time for Bob to switch to electric bass, Corey to switch to banjo, or switch off banjo to fiddle. And I loop it. I'm playing these lead parts. And sometimes I scare myself when I'm doing it, because I'm like, it's the first of the show. Don't go too nuts. You might break a string. Don't want to break it on the first song in, or go out of tune, and I don't have time to tune.
Yeah.
But it comes in, it hits you really hard coming in the front of the show, and we hit you even harder coming on the outside of the show. It was funny on that show, on the live record, we do the song to outro the night, and it's called Take Me Back to Texas. But we intro it with Corey doing a fiddle solo. There's actually a live version of this on Lava Cantina. We have a version of it on there. And we go from the solo into Dropkick Murphys into Take Me Back to Texas, and then it goes into Voodoo Child, and then it comes out and it goes into Pink Floyd The Wall.
Nice.
And then it goes to Turn the Page, and then back out from Turn the Page, back to Take Me Back to Texas, then outro. Well, on this particular show, this song was always never see, because we're going so hard to the paint. In fact, on that Lava Cantina show, it's on the video. Bob's playing on his bow, and there's this big, huge buildup we do on it, and it's going so fast and big. He had a $4,000 bow from Eastman, and he snapped it right in half. And you can see in that video, him and I look at each other. I'm like, holy shit! I'm just like, no. And but on this, the very end of it, there's this ba 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 ba, and it's going real hard. And then we have these two big hits we do at the end, and then it's good night. Well, on the New Year's Eve show, we doubled the end. And it was just a feeling I was having on stage. It was like, I'm in the talkback mic, like, double this right here. And AC's like, ah! He's just going, and his legs are going. And what was funny as shit is before that show, he had said his girlfriend, Dawn, had just got him on this workout plan with a gym, and they had done legs the day before. So when he came in for the gig, his legs were like jello. And so by the end of the show, and I'm sitting here asking him to double it, and his feet are just one-footed, just hitting it, going so fast. I could hear him. I had to cut it. Well, you can kind of hear it in the live recording, but you can kind of hear him go, shit. Like, he's just like, I don't want to. And at the end, he doesn't hit the tightness at the end where we're like, pop, 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 pop. And then that's it. He kind of goes one past it because his body is just, at this point, like, you ever been playing lead so fast that your muscles just give out and you're like, and you just kind of fall apart? That's where he was on drums. He was falling apart there at the end. And then as he walked off the stage, you could see his legs doing this number. They were wobbling. And he went and sat down in the green room and was like, dude, I got to breathe for a minute. I got to breathe.
At least he was sitting down. Could you imagine having your legs like that on that stage? How high up it is?
Dude. Yeah. Oh, no, Live in Cantina?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't live. The one where his legs were, it was Mule Barn, but still.
Mule Barn to live. Okay.
Mule Barn, it's up. He's up on a drum riser, and then he's got to step down, then come down off the stage. He was hurting, man. I felt bad. I was like, oh, damn. But it sounded good.
Justin,
it sounded really
you
good.
Carry me to fan.
Help me. Help. This hurt. Yeah. The whole time we were loading out, because it's another thing I love about this band is everybody's like a part of the crew, part of the ship, right? We all load in together. We take our time with it. We don't rush. We don't get there like an hour before the gig. We get there like 6 hours before the gig. Yeah. We set up. We dial everything in because we don't run wireless, right? So we run our in-ears. Everything's hardwired in. So we got Rolls boxes behind us, like on the guitar boat and stuff like that. And so even if we were to stand up, we only got like 6 foot of room from the cord that's attached to your, like a headphone like this. And it's, if you can't walk across the stage. Now, Corey uses those X-Vive digital wireless. You've seen those things? Mm-hmm. He uses that, and then AC uses wireless, which I think is hilarious because AC's not going anywhere. So you should just use a Rolls box. If anybody should have a wireless on, it should be me rocking out there. I've got one. I just don't use it. Because there again, like my feet are doing as much work as my upper body. And I forgot where I was going with this, but AC, man, good Lord. Yeah, he busted his dick on that poor show, man. And now, as we're doing it now, since then, we've had 10 shows since New Year's, and he's like, you can see his like definition is building up a little bit. She's got him on a workout plan. He's pumping. He showed up the other day. I was like, damn, bro, looking cut up, swole. Better not be doing roids. He's like, nah, man, just working out every day. His like energy's really high. He's young, so he can get all that. I'm in my 40s. I'm just like, not this guy. Yeah. I will enjoy sitting, and then I'll go get acupuncture done, take away the pain. Like, But that's what it was. Part of the crew, part of the ship. So we all load in early. We load out together. So when he was loading out that gig, he was like pushing road. He's got a huge drum vault that all his shit goes in. And I think he went to go push it, and Tristan came up. He's like, hey, man, I got you. Don't worry. He's like, thanks, Doc. I really appreciate it. He was like, thank you. Oh, it hurts. Like, poor guy. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, dude. No, but the new record, I think will be, we'll try and go in the middle of the summer and record that. We record at Cafe Solo Studios in Denton, which I think is one of the most underrated recording studios in the state of Texas. Chris Howell that runs that place is damn good. Great vibe out of that place. It's like you could tell he wanted a coffee shop, but he made a recording studio instead. And he put a lot of money into it. It was just like a 2-car garage. And then they added on to the front of it. Now it's like an apartment with a shower, and you could sleep there and do your thing. And but he really knows his shit. What I love about it is I've recorded several records with the guy. And then on this last EP, when we were doing the mix down, when he did the first mix and I heard it, I was like, well, what if we did the exact opposite of this? Like, this sounds very polished. Like, what if we make this more of a live sound. And I was asking him, I was like, how do you mix when you mix? And he's like, well, I mix as if I'm standing on stage. It's like the kicks behind me, the vocals up front, my guitar's to the right, bass is to the left and centered. I was like, okay, that makes sense. That's a good way of mixing. I was like, have you ever run sound for a band? And he's like, well, a couple times. I'm like, well, picture if you would be doing a live record, like you're standing in front of it. And that way, like the kick and the snare are up the center, and the toms are panned, and, the hi-hat to the right is panned, and, fiddle to banjo to guitar to, stereo spread stuff. And he was like, huh. So that's what we did for the EP, we mixed it like we would do a live show. So that way we could capture what is like the essence of being as close as we can to a live show, and not putting all the massive delays in there and all the shit. Now that we have Gary, we can do all that live. We couldn't do that before, so we were trying to give him what is closest to, like Lighthouse Keeper, for example. That was on Cross's garage record, but it was Scott Copeland who wrote the song. And I've heard Scott do it, and I've heard Cross do it, but we put our flavor on it and did it our way. So it was like, we want to capture that for the record. That whole, and, there was another podcast I did last week. It was called The Ranch with this gal, and she was like showing the music videos. She's like, before we got the show started, she's like, these are really, like, these two here are really long. And I was like, yeah, they are. She's like, well, we'll probably have to cut them short. I go, why? Let it play.
Yeah.
Because I think Lighthouse Keeper's like 12 minutes long. Something like that. But we do like a whole classical Spanish intro to the front of it, and then it goes into the verse, then it goes into the band, then it goes into the solo, then it goes into the outro. Like, it's long.
Yeah. It's like a Dream Theater song.
Yeah, but it takes you for a journey. And that whole song is about just a trip. That's what lyrically it's all about. So we wanted the music to do the same thing. And of course the Reach video is long because we put all the extras in there for the music video, because that was still is a huge deal. All the money that is made off of the music video. So for Reach, that was done. So my great grandfather was the first fire chief of Haltom City, and his son, my grandfather, was the first police chief of Richland Hills, which we live in North Richland Hills. So when we had the song Reach come about, I said, man, it'd be really cool to dedicate this, because it's a song about hope and helping somebody. It'd be really cool to dedicate this to my great-grandfather, who was the first fire chief, but also, how rad would it be if we could dedicate it to all firefighters, EMT, first responders in that field, like paramedics, not police, not military, like fire, EMTs, paramedics. There's so many of those dudes that get unrecognized. Like these guys that fight fires on the front line. I think there's a movie about it, Only the Brave or something like that, where they're fighting forest fires. They're out there fighting fire with fire and redirecting the fire, that kind of deal. So we announced it at Texas Live. We were playing a show at Texas Live, and I said, we want to dedicate this song to all firefighters, EMTs, EMS around the world. We hadn't even recorded it yet. And so we did. Well, in the crowd happened to be Jim Davis, who's the fire chief of Fort Worth. And he came up and he's like, whatever I can do to help. What do you want to do? I said, oh my God. So I was like, well, we're about to go in the studio and record this. So we did. And then we shot a music video for it. And he got us in touch with Brian Jacobs, who's the fire chief of Haltom City. And we were able to go shoot the music video inside of the Haltom Fire Department. And so how cool was that? Like, we're in the place. This is like, my grandfather helped put this on the map. How bitchin' is this? Well, then it escalated from there after a meeting with the city. And we held an event for the premiere of it at Texas Live. And we called it Honor Those Who Reach for Us. And we did a t-shirt for it. this whole nine. And there's a foundation in Texas called LODD, which is the Line of Duty Death, that takes care of those folks in those fields that die in the line of battle, or get sick and can't work anymore, or takes care of their families, helps them with retirement. That's where I was like, dude, this is perfect. Let's just hold a show at Texas Live. We'll premiere the video, and we'll bring out some legends, and we'll do an auction. We'll get sponsors to throw in, and we'll just raise money for the LODD. And then to top it, whatever streaming we get off of Reach as far as the music video goes, whenever that comes in, we'll just take that amount and put it into an account, and then every year we send it to the LODD, or to help a fire station in need. Because there's a lot of like fire stations all across Texas and in other states too, where they, it's the town taking, like, it's all volunteer. These guys aren't getting paid, and their station might be not up to par. Maybe we can take $10,000 and go help them get something that they need, to help that town. So we shot this music video, and the amount of people that got involved was so humbling and mind-blowing. And the relationships that thing started, like the Haltom Fire crew they never really like branched out and talked to other fire stations. And this literally brought like chiefs together that don't really talk on a friendship level, but now do. Like Fort Worth and Dallas and Arlington and Haltom and Colleyville and Grapevine and like all these towns that are right next to each other. They just don't hang out. Now they do. Now they're having dinners and lunches and breakfast together and shooting the shit and making new, it's like, wow, this did so much more than just helping. Like, and it really blew our mind, and it really just went right along with the theme of the song, reach. It's like reaching out and gaining a friend. I was like, whoa. And I didn't know about that until we did the premiere. Like, I was told that by a few guys, and I was like, oh my God. And then we didn't expect anything. We didn't want anything out of this. Channel 5 did a story on it, Channel 4, Channel 11. And what's even crazier than that is like Dawn White, the lady that did the story on it for NBC, for Fox 4, she came to the fire station while we were doing the music video and did a story on us. And then now her and AC, our drummer, are like a tight item. Like they're together. And I'm like, what? So like, they fell in love with each other kind of deal. And we ended up raising on the auction, we raised just under $9,000 or just under $10,000. And then when we added all of our merch sales to it for the shirts and everything, it brought it up to like almost 11. And so $11,000 to help out the LODD. And I was just like, dude, this is so badass. And so months go by. That was September 29th. Months go by. And we're holding, the band gets together every Thanksgiving and Christmas. And we do like a band giving together and Christmas party, right? And right before our Thanksgiving party, I get this box delivered on the front doorstep. And it's from Wendy Norris at the LODD. And I open it up, and it's this like house-looking frame, and it's got a Texas flag put inside of it, and it's got a note from the House of Representatives of Texas, and they recognized our band for help for doing this for our firefighters, and they flew this flag at our state capitol in honor of our band for doing this.
Wow.
And dude, you talk about, I'm getting chills talking about it now. Like, you talk about one of my most, I broke down. I haven't cried in years, and I like had tears just falling out of my face. Like, I will take this. I was so honored and humbled at that point. Like, oh my God. Like, look at this. Like, I didn't expect this. I didn't want anything from them. We wanted to give them something. I didn't expect anything in return. None of us did. And when that happened, I was just like, holy shit. And on the show, like when we did the deal, Brian Jacobs and the Haltom Fire Department like gave us an actual helmet, like a fire helmet that this is something they do for their firefighters. And they gave us a helmet that was actually used in Haltom Fire, and it belonged to somebody that had fallen. And this helmet was passed on to us as a sign of leadership. And I thought that was, for me, that was enough. And they also gave us this, I keep it here on my desk. It was a coin that they gave us. They gave us this coin. They made it especially just for that. And I was like, dude, this is insane. This is, that to me that was enough. That no more. We don't need anything else. As long as this is helping y'all, And then when that thing came in from the Texas, House of Representatives, and it's signed by our governor, and all these signatures on there, and the sergeant at arms, and then it has some coins that are placed in there that are like specially made for that. I was just like, oh my God, how did we do this? We're just some local band from Fort Worth that managed to put this thing together. We're not one of those military grabs. We don't do stuff like that. Like, we support them 100%, but we're not singing political songs, and we're not, we just wanted to find somebody to help. And it all started from just thinking of my family and going, this would be cool to honor my great grandfather, and which is even more nuts when you really start going down that rabbit hole. Because during that, so my dad was murdered when I was a kid, right? And so there's a whole nother side of the family that I didn't really know. And like my half brother and two half sisters, right? And three separate mothers, my mom, their mom, and another mom, right? We didn't start really talking until this last 4 years. So it's been that dead silent. So my dad's gone, and pretty much my entire family on my mom's side, immediate family's gone. So it's just my mom left, and she has Alzheimer's dementia, so I can't really talk to her, right? And so in doing this, her last name originally was Stowe, and I ended up getting in contact with like the one cousin I know of, which is Cody, which is out in Virginia, which led me down a road to meet Jimmy Stowe and Odin Stowe, and we're down at Kemah Boardwalk playing this summer, and this guy comes up, he goes, hey man, my name is Odin Stowe, I'm your distant cousin in the Stowe family. He goes, we've just never gotten to meet. And I was like, holy shit, like I didn't even know this guy existed. I didn't know I still had that much family alive. Like I didn't know, had no clue, because I never got to learn about them all. And we weren't real big on going to like family get-togethers and reunions and stuff like that. So this whole thing just opened up this massive door that was way more than I've ever been anything I've ever done in my music career, And so, so it all stems back to this music video, this song, and it comes from this music video. It's on YouTube. Just look up Justin Ross and Deadwood Revival, Reach. But there's a whole. It was really cool that one of the bagpipe players that plays in the when they do memorials and stuff like that, we had him come in and we recorded him playing the intro to Reach, and had him at the very first of it playing it, so it flows right into the song. So you only get that on the music video, but then at the end he did it in the key and went into Amazing Grace at the end, and then we have a memorial set at the end. And I mean, just then all the footage that came in from all over the world, like people from Toronto, Dublin, Quebec, like just all over, here in Texas, Kentucky, Tennessee, just everywhere. And I'm sitting there going, this is unreal. The opening scene is from New South Wales, and it was a crew that were all wearing body cams, and it was sent to me like, you should put this in your video. These guys are honored because they didn't make it out of this. This is the scene. The only thing that made it out were these fire retardant cameras, and they were fighting a fire in a forest, and you can see in the moment they're panicking, and the fire shifts as they're in the truck, and it comes up on top of the truck, and that was a wrap. Like,
wow.
None of them survived, and so it was like, oh my God. Like, and to this day, like, I watch that and tear up because I'm just like, man, these men and women, they do some things that is just, we got our world here in music and our 9-to-5s and the things we do. But then when you really go down that rabbit hole, what these people do, holy PTSD. Like, these guys go through some shit on a daily basis, not just once, but like maybe 20 times a day. Think about when you're in home, and especially if you're in the city, like, how many times do you hear fire trucks going down the street?
Yeah.
We live right next to one, and I hear them, I don't know how many times a day. In fact, on this podcast, there was already 2 that passed, and I heard them going back in the background. I was like, oh, there's another one. It's like a train passing by. You just get used to it.
Yeah.
But it's like, we see that every day when we're out, ambulances flying by and fire trucks. It may not even be a fire, but they get called. They're on the scene,
Yeah. Like
So,
everything.
Pretty amazing, man. So
Yeah.
I think out of all the songs on the record, that one, it just hit different. And I think you can hear that when you listen to the record. But all the songs on there have meaning. But, that one really hits me hard. It's even hard to perform. Like, I have to turn my brain off. I have to not think about what I'm saying in that song. I have to just sing it and do the best I can.
Yeah. Just kind of go in the back of your mind.
Totally. Yeah. There's a few songs like that. Like, I think, one thing that never really gets talked about is when musicians write a song that damn near broke them. You know what I mean? When you perform that song, you're having to put yourself, doesn't matter how long ago it is, you have to put yourself back in that frame of mind. Like, I got a song called Weed for the Whiskey and another song called Breathe. Those were in some of the darkest times of my life. But when I perform them, it is hard to get through it. Like, it is really hard. And you'll see, like, as I come out of a song, I'm just like, okay. It's not that I was tired from playing it. It's just that I'm just like, okay, what's the next song? Where am I going? Don't think about this, On the Into the Dark record, I have a song on there called Echo of the Angels. And I, to this day, can't play it live. I cannot do it. I've probably played it live 4 times, and I can't make it through it. Like, I will break down right in the middle of a song. And there's people that come up and request that song constantly, and I just cannot bring myself to do that. It's beautiful. It's Steve Hammond on keys, and this girl named Brittany that was playing violin, and acoustic and harmonies, the whole 9. It's so beautiful. But it's like, Jesus, I can't do this live. And not to mention a mood killer. That's like that's in a place where, like, if you're in like I guess if you were in like a really dimly lit what do you call it, listening room, that would be the place to do it. But you're not going to do it at the Mule Barn. I'm not going to do it at the Rhinestone during the stockyards, during the stock show. Like, you talk about kill the mood. Jesus, you slit your wrist after you hear that song. But, yeah, putting yourself in the moment to play those tunes. But there again, that's a lot of what I love about what we do with Deadwood. Like the song Bring Me Home, man. Like, fuck, I love playing that song. I'm fucking jamming during that son of a bitch, The Rain. We have a song called Rock and Roll in a Dream. Kind of a cheesy name, but good Lord, it tells the story. But damn, it's good, And we just, aggressively feel the music when we're getting into it. It's almost kind of like you zone out. You're just zoning. The crowd blurs, and you're just telling a story throughout the show. You know, then you come out the other end and you're like, man, did we do all right? You know, fuck. I was so into it, you know, that kind of deal. I don't know, man. Like I said before, I've never had this much fun or been this enthralled with a band. You know, like I couldn't picture playing without these guys.
Yeah,
you know, it's come to that part of the career. You know, nobody's expendable.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's a great thing for a band.
Totally. Like you don't hear about that these days either. You know, like how many bands do you know that keep the same musicians on for years, like 2 years? You make 2 years, man. That's what do they say when you get married? It's like if you can make it for the first 2 years, you guys are doing all right. When you make it to 5, you know, like you guys are pretty locked in. You make it to 10, you know, you're probably going to be old together. Well, it's the same way in a band. Like if you can make it 2 years with a band and keep the same boys together, keep it strong and keep the morale and everything up, all that shit plays a part. You know, it's a family. You know, when one falls, the other guy's there to pick him up. That kind of deal. A brotherhood, if you would. You know.
Yeah, so, very true.
Totally. Yeah, man. It's a lot, though. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in. I mean, there's a lot of other shit too. You know, like behind the scenes, all the stuff we do, the marketing, all the stuff behind the scenes. We don't have a publicist. We don't have a manager. We don't have a big, huge booking agency. Kelly Pierce, Seventh Planet, takes care of all of our booking. You know, we work really well with her, and I do my best every day to be the content creator for the band because. You know, the other guys are teachers. You know, they're all teaching. You know, but they can dip out and go on tour at any point. But I try and I'm wearing 50 different hats. You know what I mean? And it's a lot. Sometimes I just get worn the fuck down. I mean, it's like tonight we're on here, and here in a little bit I'll be on another podcast. I got to do one with the Pair Theory tonight, which is our completely non-music related deal we do for fun only, which is a lot of fun. Pair Theory, if you're into the paranormal world, that's one of our favorite things. So, nice. But then tomorrow we got Blood in the Water with the boys and coming up with content to talk about. I got Patrick, my hats are off to you, man. I don't know how the fuck you do this every day. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
I did recently kind of hit a wall where I was just like, because I was doing 3-4 videos a day. And there's just so many hoops, and then it's like, oh, it's going away. And it's like, oh, I put all this work into it. And it is funny. Like, it's sometimes people like, no, I've had people come up and be like, oh, I didn't know you played guitar. And sometimes that's just like, oh, man. But I still like doing it. It's still fun. I like, you know, when you're at a show and the artist looks down and sees you're there and smiles, that makes it worth it.
Totally. 100%. I love that. Yeah, it's a good feeling, right?
Yeah, like just to know that, like, because a lot of people, like, they'll just be like, you have no idea how much it helps. And I was like, you know, I don't really see it because, you know, up here, like, my friends don't even watch this. My friends don't watch the TikToks and all. But I can go down to Texas and I can have a bunch of people come up to me and be like, hey, man, I really like what you're doing. Yeah. I really like watching the videos. I'm like, dude, cool. And they're like,
I've been watching your shit since I think day one. Like, I was like, man, this guy's got it together. He's, you know, and I love it that it's just off the cuff. Let it roll.
Yeah.
You know, and you're good about doing the marketing side of it and cutting up parts out of this and putting it up online and let it roll. That's the point. It's getting out to the broader picture for people to get to know these musicians, where we come from, what we do. That we're not just drinking and partying and chasing tail, and you know, there's a whole other side of this.
Yeah,
you know?
More than the stereotypes.
I really loved the interview you did with Cody Jinks. I watched the whole thing, and Cody's a great dude, man. And You know, I love listening to that guy talk. A lot of the things he was saying, I was like, man, I remember that. I remember this, you know.
Yeah, I like when I told him how I like the tone of his voice and how deep he can go, and he went raw. I was like, that was cool.
Yeah.
How you can manipulate his voice.
He can get down there, man. It was a shocker, man, because I got to tell you, when I first heard Cody Jinks sing, I was like, what? This guy was in metal bands forever. What the hell happened? You know? At first I thought maybe, is he faking this? Is this a joke? Maybe this is a joke. And then I realized, no, this is not a joke. This is what he's doing. I was like, well, shit, he's really good at it. And then, like, you know, I was watching Josh would always post, like, videos of them just, like, in this Winnebago traveling. And they went through some of the hardest shit, man. They were times when they had next to nothing, paying just gas to throw in this van or whatever. And I think I saw a video one time of, like, they were at some camping spot spending the night, and then Josh come walk around the corner, and pure Josh for him. He had a coffee mug in his hand, like a thing of coffee. He's like, got water for the coffee, and then like disappeared off into the Winnebago to go make coffee. I'm like, I remember this guy. We lived together for a long time. Like, yeah. I saw, in fact, I have a bowl of his that was his favorite bowl. Like, this is hilarious. Like, it's like one of these little soup bowls that you could pour out at either side, so you could pour it, right? I remember Josh saying, man, that was my favorite bowl. And then somehow in the moving back to Texas, I don't know how, but this ended up in all my crap. And I was like, this little bowl, this was Josh's. Like, one day I'm going to return this to him. I'll be like, hey, man, here's your bowl back. Like, this is pre him having children and everything he's been through with Cody. This is long before. This is when he was playing with Plainview. This is years ago, right? One day I'm going to return that to him. Find time to go to a Jinx show and be like, Josh, here you go, my friend. Here's your bowl back. He'll be like, oh my God, you still have this? I'll be like, I don't know how, but it's still here. Yeah,
that's funny.
I have managed not to lose all my dishes. God, dude, we went to the storage unit a couple months ago. We had to clean out we have 3 storage units, and we were cleaning out 2 of them and getting rid of a bunch of shit. And the one I went into was like when I first moved back to Texas. So I had all my apartment stuff like crammed in there, shit that I wasn't using, and I'm going through it. And we gave it to the U-Haul. We signed it off, like all the shit we just left. I don't have anywhere to put it. They're like, oh, we'll sign here. We'll get rid of it. I go in there and look, man. I'm going through like something like my old desk that's in there in the drawer, like the nightstand, shit that was in my nightstand from living up there. I'm like, this is incriminating. We need to throw this away. Like shit I was finding. I was like, damn, this is all in here. Whoa. And all the memories start coming back. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, I remember this thing. Let's throw this away. This doesn't need to be seen. Posters. Found some old, I hung them up here on the wall. You can't see it, but some old photos I found of our band and shit that Soko was going through. Jared Hardigree, one of my best friends, we still talk. He lives up in Edmond, and we only get to see each other every so often, like a few years. But he had a picture, some photos, and he was showing them to me. I was like, oh my God. I'm looking at us kids on stage like, what the hell were we doing? Like, we had no business playing some of these shows. No business. Like, I don't know how the hell we survived. And maybe that's just the Oklahoma City. You know, like there was only like so few, like there was like 3 bands that stuck out in Oklahoma City at the time. And it was Soko, Headroom, and Hinder. And Hinder's the one that got signed, right? And blew up and all that shit. And I look back to those pictures and be like, what were we doing? We had a really good thing going. We figured out where we lived. We lived in this big ass house. We had this 2-story house. And there was this guy named Jeremy that owned the place. And basically, we were paying by the room, but everything was all a la carte, right? We just paid by the room. We didn't have to pay any other bills, just pay your rent. Well, we lived on campus at UCO, University of Central Oklahoma. And when we had all first moved in with each other, we found out that the campus was dry. No tobacco, no alcohol. But we lived on campus and we weren't part of the college, right? So think, none of these sororities and none of these fraternities can throw parties. We can. So we made friends with the liquor store down the street, and we threw keg parties, and we would have our band play or another band play, whatever. And we basically opened the door to these fraternities, and we were making money off of it, and that's how we survived and built a name. And God, we even did a concert in the 7-Eleven parking lot there. Like, stupid shit. Like, I'm still baffled at like how we pulled this off because of how just drunk and out of our mind we were. Like, I can remember mornings of like sitting on the front porch after the party's way been over with. The sun is coming up. We're on our last like Miller High Life, and Jeff's like, well, we're out of beer, but the store opens in 15 minutes and we can buy more. like that kind of like, whew. People ask me why I don't drink anymore. I'm like, I drink enough to feed a small world country, bro. Like, I don't need to drink anymore. Like, I'm getting too old for that shit now.
Yeah.
But
That's funny.
those are all good times, man. It's amazing where everybody's gone and how things have become. And then, you know, and then I still look at where I'm at now. And, you know, I used to say, like 4 or 5 years ago, I was saying shit like, man, if Doc Brown pulled up right now in that DeLorean, I'd probably go back and slap that kid, you know, playing guitar.
Yeah.
Tell him to go get a job. But now it's a whole new outlook. Like, I don't think I'd change a thing. I'm content and happy with where I'm at. My wife, I met her on the road. Like, every street knowledge thing I know is from touring and playing. It's not from, you know, I don't know, man. I don't think I could survive without it. I think about it too, like, what am I going to do when I hit that like 6-0 mark? Like, that's in less than 20 years. 43 now. Like, what am I going to do when I can't play guitar anymore? I can't sing anymore. Like, the running joke is I'd be up there in a wheelchair with a breather on, just like trying to crank out a solo or something. But I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell I would do if I didn't have it. I go nut. Like, this week we're off. I have a lot of stuff to do here in the studio, but yesterday my old lady was looking at me going, you okay? And I'm like, oh, I'm just bored. We didn't have any shows this weekend. I did nothing but fucking media and content creation and blah, 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 and website crap. And she's like, you need to go play music. I was like, I do. We can't take a week off like this. Like, and thank God we got a bunch of shows this week. So I'm eager as hell to get in, you know, on Wednesday and go record or go play with Johnny. You know Johnny Cooper? You ever heard that name?
I've seen him on TikTok.
Johnny Cooper.
For friends.
He's got a really great story. You got to hit him up about doing a podcast. He's a great dude. He also plays bass for Prophets and Outlaws. And let him and I do an acoustic show, like a song swap, basically, every other Wednesday at the Blue Bayou in North Fort Worth. And then our band does a secret show there once a month. We don't tell anybody. We don't say anything. We don't promote it. We don't. It's the best. Blue Bayou is literally one of the best kept secrets there is in the state of Texas. It is so backwoods, and so, dude, I'm talking like, when I say backwoods, I mean like when you walk in, the walls are just plywood with pictures hung on them. It's still smoking allowed in this bar, like home cooked food, cold beer, cold drinks, live music 7 days a week. Like, we've been playing there every other Wednesday, or I've been playing there every other Wednesday for now going on 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a
I
residency.
don't have to say a word. My band couldn't figure it out. They're like, why are you playing the Bayou? I'm like, you guys need to come play the Bayou. We should play the Bayou. Johnny's wanting to get off the rotation. He's wanting to do once a month. He'd become a father in the last 2 years. He wants to spend time at home with the kid. I was like, I'll talk to JC, and we'll knock it down to where we take the other Wednesday. And so Deadwood started using it basically as a live rehearsal. We use it as a crew day. We get there at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, unload all the trailer, go through all the cables, test all the cables, all that shit. We do it once a month, keep all our shit fresh and nice. Well, the first time we played there, all of them looked at me. They're like, oh, I get it. I totally get it. This feels like a Friday night. I'm like, dude, there's like 60 fucking people in here. And it's packed. And we have a great show there every time we play. And if Johnny and I are there, it's the same thing. So it helps that there's like a multi-million-dollar neighborhood right across the street that they put in. But all of those people religiously come over there and see the show and tip well and take care of us, buy the merch, that sort of deal. So it's a really good spot. So when you do come to Tejas, call me and let's go out and hit some of the places that are off the grid. Like, don't go to the stockyards. Well, let me take you to some places that are off the grid, and you're going to see some banging ass live music. That you'll just be like, what? Who the fuck's this guy? Why don't I know about him? Well, he doesn't have a TikTok. He doesn't even know how to use his phone. But fuck, he's incredible. There are some dudes out there that you're just like, man, what are you doing? I just gave up. I don't really care about the dream. I just play because I love it. And boy, do they. You could see just 50 years of playing, and they're playing, and you're just like, God damn, this dude right here, man, holy shit. Yeah, definitely take you to the Bayou. You'll enjoy that place. Get a home-cooked steak, and they have steak night on Saturday nights. Big old friggin' porterhouse and mashed potatoes and green beans, and get you a Coke, watch some live music, then we can go hit Fort Worth.
Nice. Yeah, I'll definitely.
Yeah. Have you had a night in the yards yet?
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm sorry. How are you feeling after that?
It was fun. We've done two parties there at the White Elephant.
Oh shit.
And I'm trying to think where.
Did you go to the basement bar?
No, I think I've only in the stockyards. I think I've only been to. I went somewhere else with Kane and Bryce.
Filthy McNasties.
That might be it. I don't remember.
Well, when you come out of White Elephant, you kind of go up the hill and be like Filthy's on the right, and then Thirsty Armadillo, and then Cadillacs and Pearls, then kind of make the U-turn, cut me Rhinestone, then come back down to Longhorn, then Basement Bar, and then back down.
Yeah, I got separated because I went out the back to talk to Drew Herrickle, and then the guy wouldn't let me out front, and I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. And I could hear people screaming my name, and I'm like, oh, this is like Nashville.
Oh, shit.
You go in the front, you're in the alley. You go to the bathroom, you walk over there, and you're in Johnny V Goods. You're like, how did I get here?
Right.
And then, it probably was that place.
Filthy's, man. I got a lot of time in that place on that stage. Thirsty, same way. Rhinestone, since it's been 50 different things. Stock show's going on right now, though. Good God. It's going to be fucking packed up there on Saturday night. That's going to be, it's going to be an ass whip. Because it's revolving. It's like a revolving door of people. It's kind of like Nashville, kind of like Broadway, but for original music.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Avery Stinnett opening up the night.
I know Avery.
Yeah. It's going to be a good one, man. I got to call him and tell him he's okay to use our drummer's kit. We're trying to figure out how we're all going to fit on the stage. Because I think he's like a 5-piece band. But we don't have guitar amps or anything. We're all direct in with pedal boards. So Gary's just going to be marking X's where our boards are at and then pulling them off the stage. And wish you were in town this Saturday, man. Jesus Christ, that's going to be a show from hell. 90-minute set of holy hell.
Holy hell.
Yeah. Well, dude, Patrick, man, fucking A, man. Thank you for having me on here.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
Telling us your stories and everything. It was a good talk.
It was a good talk, for sure, man. For sure. What do you got coming up? You got anything big around the corner?
Man, I don't think so. I don't. I've been wanting. I write like lyrics, but I'm not like a good like complete the song kind of guy. And my drummer, he has a songwriting deal because his first co-write went platinum, so he's getting in the song. Well, he is writing songs, and I called him up the other day, and we were just like talking. And he was like, "We should sit down and write some songs." So, with music wise, I was hoping to do more stuff. I still have to get to Nashville to record some songs. I was in a co-write up there a long time ago, which all the songs are about drinking. You know,
Well, man, if you have some, you know, if you ever get writer's block, whatever, hit me up. I do that.
I
I
definitely
help other
will.
guys write around here, and we bounce shit back and forth. And
Yeah,
I love doing that.
Yeah, I've been finding myself wanting to do it. Like when I was talking to Adam Hood, I was like, man, I have a song that it's a song kind of about you co-writing a song, and like the band lets you jump in on it and play it, but they get big, and then it's just stuff just starts getting taken away while they're getting famous, and it becomes their song, and it's just like being on the other side of the guitar.
Yep.
Of being a songwriter. I was like stuff like that. Like I don't know. But other than that, like the next show, I guess American Aquarium.
Oh, nice. PJ.
I'm gonna go
I
see
dig
them.
his style, man. I'd love to write with that dude.
Yeah.
Totally
Yeah.
would love to write with that guy.
Yeah, he gave like a master class on songwriting. The podcast I did with him.
He fits the bill, like for what he does, what American Aquarium does. Like Deadwood would fit right there alongside him.
Yeah.
Like, that would be a great show. But I'd love to write with that dude for sure. He's got some good shit, man. What is his latest one? Crier.
Oh my God.
Fuck.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
And
I was like,
yeah,
"Man,
that's a
this guy's-
fantastic song.
love it."
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it jamming today. I'm real big about using YouTube for all the music, and then just running music videos up on the screen and letting it play through this. Because fuck, it's a nice studio. Let it run. But I was in here cleaning all day today. Had to get this thing back in action. I trashed it. I got a bunch of pedals I got to fix to my left, and I took a stab at replacing some stuff on an LED light that we had to go bad with one that's still good, but the body on it's broken. And as I started opening up, I've never done that before. And as I started opening up, I was like, yeah, fuck no, I'll just buy another one. This is too much for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man. There was something I was going to say, and I can't remember what the hell it was. Oh, we got nominated for by Texas Country Music Association. This is something that happened this week. We got nominated for best merch by
Best merch?
random. Yeah,
That's
I was
nice.
like, okay, merch. I'm in. Let's promote it. So, people have been going and voting. It's on our Facebook and all that stuff. People have been going and making their vote. And then now we're getting people asking from like out of state, like, where can we get merch? Deadwoodfan.com/our info takes you directly to our all-in-one link page for our sponsors and our merch store and all that stuff. We actually put some new merch on there today, and I just thought that was totally random because we just got back from Dallas Entertainment Awards where The Rain was up for Single of the Year, and then we get hit with best merch for TCMAs. I'm like, merch.
That's cool.
Well, I mean, we do push the shit out of it.
Yeah.
We're trying to go to Ireland. That's our big goal. We want to do a tour over there. Not like a song swap, not Texas Red Dirt pub crawl or anything. We're talking about a full tour from the top of Scotland to the bottom of Ireland.
That'd be fun.
We're in talks of making it happen. We just got to raise the money to make it happen, to get over there. Yeah, that's the part. So we had a sponsor in, but They recently sold their business, so that kind of set us back a little bit, but we'll pick up another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I hope that comes to light.
Totally, bro. All right, my man. Well, I'm going to get off here and go eat dinner. I got another podcast to do, like 30 minutes.
All right, man. Well, thank you, Justin, for jumping on.
You got it, bro. Absolutely.
And we'll definitely do it again sometime.
For sure. Absolutely. Anytime, bro.
All right. Yeah,
All right.
And whenever I'm in Fort Worth, I'll hit you up.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely do that, because we'll go out and we'll tie one on for a night. I'll fall off the wagon for a night. Why not?
All right.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, man.
I'll talk to you.